Thank you, Amy. It's 7 p.m., 7:01 p.m. I want to call the meeting to order. It's the Board of Finance regular meeting scheduled for July 17th, 7 p.m. And we'll let the record show that all 6 members of the Board of Finance present, and they're present here in the room, no one on Zoom. Next up, approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion for approval of the minutes from 6/12/25?
So moved.
Thank you, Brian. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Dave. Any discussion on the minutes from 6/12? Yes,
I
Steve.
do have a comment. Just so it's not misinterpreted, the minutes as written say, for example, investment income over 120% of budget. Actually, it's 20% over budget. It's 120% of budget, only 20% over budget. So just you could easily misread. So if we could record it a little differently, record it either as percent of budget or change instead of 120, it's 20%.
Yeah, that's a good point, Steve. That's a good point. It means that it's 1.2 times the budget in essence. Okay.
Same thing on the local revenue for that, for those
Okay.
minutes.
Okay.
Similarly, I think misleading.
Okay. RJ, did you catch those? Thank you. Any other comments on or discussion on the minutes from 6/12? Okay, hearing none. All in favor of approving the minutes as written with the 2 exceptions or changes from Steve, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. I have a motion to accept the minutes from BOF special meeting on July 2nd.
I'll make that motion.
Steve made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Nikki has a second. Any discussion on those minutes? Any discussion on those minutes? Okay, hearing none, all in favor of approving the minutes as submitted, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Minutes are approved. Item 3, correspondence. We have 2 here that I'll touch on, and a few additional that came in that I did send to the full board this afternoon, so you may not have seen them.
No.
First is the tax collector's report. Did everyone get that?
Yep.
Any comments or questions on tax collector's report? None. Next is a letter from Pamela Santerre. This came through the Board of Finance email. Thank you, Bill, for forwarding it to me. I think we fixed this. I now get it directly. Did everyone get that letter and get a chance to look at it?
Yep.
I said, Pamela, thank you. Very, very thoughtful letter. Clearly spent a lot of time on it. And that's important. I appreciate her feelings on it and her feedback. And side note, she's a terrific writer. Wish I could write that good. Third item was correspondence from David Dalpy Senior. Is there a way to get a phone call? I'd like to speak to a board member at my earliest convenience. I called Dave. I had a nice chat with him. We talked for about 20 minutes. He had concerns about the school. He had concerns about the transfer station. We talked about lakefront property and a few other things. Nothing else to report, but
I spoke to him as well.
excellent. Anything to report?
A similar conversation.
Excellent. Item 4, if you haven't seen it, you'll see it in your inbox. It's a correspondence from Beverly Warner. I'll read it very quickly. I know my vote does not matter to most of this board, but you should know that the people who care are contacting me and are furious. Before they were annoyed that they were not being listened to, but now that Amy has pulled her punish the voter stunt, they are fit to be tied. You must know from past votes before Amy combined the budgets that the citizens believe most of the bloat is in the failing school. Deep cuts need to start there. An administrator or 2 would not be missed. Rob's response, I said, Dear Beverly, this is Rob Wirch, BOF Chair. Thank you for reaching out. I sent your email to the full board and will acknowledge the content during the correspondence this evening. Please note the following points and clarifications. All votes matter. and more should exercise their right to vote. 2, our first selectman is not pulling stunts or punishing voters, but rather doing what is best for the town and preserving cash to keep some level of operations in place. 3, our first selectman did not combine the budgets. They are still built up and presented independently, and then rolled up into one town budget. Voting on the budget was combined and approved at a town meeting by a vote of the townspeople at a meeting held a few years ago. We appreciate hearing from the town, Thompson residents and landowners.
Good response.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 5, and I think it's the last correspondence, was from Mr. Bill Warner. Level funding for the average taxpayer is 17.5 mils. If you plot the no votes versus the mill rate for the last 3 referendums, you will find that a mill rate of 17.5, at a mill rate of 17.5, the votes would be 53 yes and 47 no. He basically took the change in votes over the 3 referendums and said, if I keep that going and I plot it, it'll win at 17.5. Therefore, I strongly urge the board to consider setting a mill rate at 17.5 mils. I responded in writing to Bill. Dear Bill, this is Rob Werge, Board of Finance Chairman, and thank you for reaching out. I sent your email to the full board and will acknowledge the content during the correspondence this evening. Please note the following points and clarifications. Level funding for the average taxpayer is not 17.5 mils, but rather 19.29 mils. And I'm happy to review the numbers with you so you can correctly put forward the correct information. You can accurately put forward the correct information. And I'm willing to do that for anyone. When I sit down and go over the numbers, I'd be happy to do that. To drop the mill rate from 1929 to 17.5, the BOF would need to reduce the tax warrant by nearly $2 million, which will have a devastating impact on town services. Pulling the $2 million from surplus, the unassigned fund balance, to arrive at your suggested 17.5 mill rate would be irresponsible and would result in a surplus of approximately 1.6%, which is dangerously low. At 19.29 mill rate, the tax warrant is flat or level to the prior year of 21,733,000, which means the average taxpayer will see $0 increase in the amount of taxes paid. If we look at just the portion of taxpayers who own homes and cars, at 1929 mill rate, 60% of residents with automobiles, property owners, on average, will see a decrease in taxes paid versus last year. I'm also happy to review these numbers with you. I see your extrapolation on the change in no votes versus mill rate change over the last 3 referendums. And I would add, if 15.7% or 167 of the no votes became yes votes on the last referendum, the budget would have passed. Additional voter turnout could also impact the results in both directions. We appreciate hearing from Thompson residents and landowners. Any
Nope,
questions?
very good.
Very nice,
Yeah,
thank
sorry,
you.
Ken.
That's all for
I'm
correspondence.
sorry, I think we had one other.
Superintendent of schools?
The Superintendent Thompson School.
Sorry, how could I miss that?
Sure.
Sorry. Sure, I missed you. You came in so early. Also a very good writer.
Excellent writer.
Well, we all had time to see this in.
This has been
advance,
on Facebook.
so- Yeah, so I'm
Yeah,
not gonna
throughout the
read, I'm not gonna
community.
read. I read the others because they were new.
Right.
And people, I don't think people had time to look at it. But Melinda sent a correspondence in on July 14th. Regarding the school and the budget impacts, et cetera. Thank you, Melinda.
Well, if I might just touch, if I might
Yeah.
just touch on
you
one
meant-
line. The letter mentions a couple of things. The BOE budget has been reduced by $778,000. Not as if it hasn't been touched. 5 teaching positions have been eliminated. Plus, now a 6th grade teacher, director of human resources, and a special ed teacher. We've had some real, in my mind, negative impacts on our education system in this town. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Anyone else? Okay, next up, citizen comments. I want to remind everyone on Zoom and in the room. So please keep it to 3 minutes. People get insulted when I look at my phone. I'm tracking the 3 minutes. I'm actually listening to you. I'm not surfing the internet on my phone. We need to keep it to 3 minutes. We have a lot to do and there's a lot of people, so voices need to be heard. Please try not to say the same things multiple times in detail. Say it if you support it. I really need to stick to the 3 minute rule. I also want to just make a quick comment that we do have the town BOF email. If you feel like you need more than 3 minutes or you feel like your voice was cut short, go to the town website, send the email. You just saw the ones that came in. We read every one of them. We take them very seriously. It's citizen comments. It's not citizen Q&A. It's not citizen debate. It's certainly not citizen interrogation. So let's keep it civil. I say that because people get frustrated because we're not answering questions. If we get into answering questions, we're not gonna get the jobs that we need to do for the town. So if you feel like you've got an unanswered question, you can reach out for a phone call, you can reach out to the website, and I'll try my best to answer what I know or find the answers. But for tonight, we just want to hear from the citizens. We can't go back and forth with a debate. So please be respectful of that. Having said that, is there any citizen in there? We'll start in the room and then we'll go to Zoom. I see lots of hands on Zoom, but we usually start in the room. I ask you to please state your name and your address for us. Yes.
Hi, my name's Diane Jameson. I'm on 490 Sunset Hill Road, in North Cloverdale. I had written up something that I was gonna hand to the board, but seeing as I'm here, I'm gonna read it. I have some suggestions for increasing voter participation in the budget referendum. I think it's important to inform residents about the current budget situation utilizing multiple strategies. WINY interviews, ads in the shopper's guide, letters, articles provided to the villager. They could contact WFSB and other news outlets to see if they would interview Amy or others as part of their coverage. I saw Thompson being covered by WFSB because of our budget situation the other day. Flyers handed out at the transfer station and town hall, information posted outside the library, community center, and transfer station. A mailing to all residents. I know this would be expensive, but at least it would reach every residence. And initiating direct outreach to residents through phone, email, in-person interactions. Provide information forms to register people to vote if they're not already registered. I think you might be able to utilize volunteers who might be willing to help. I know that you had a program with students who were doing internships, shadowing town employees. Maybe some of them would be interested in following up and providing service for the town. Maybe people who are affected by the cuts already in place, seniors, and maybe people who've been not laid off, but are not working currently full-time for the town, and others like myself who are concerned. I think it's really important to provide information in easy to read bullet format. Most people don't want to read in-depth information. I was a drug and alcohol counselor at Assumption College for many years and trying to get students' attention. They don't want to read a lot. They're already reading for class. So it's really like, how do you grab their attention? So keep it simple. Let people know what was cut after each budget failed to be approved. Explain how decisions are made when budget cuts occur, and be direct and clear about most likely results of another failed budget vote. I personally, I really don't want to lose the transfer station. But I'm also concerned, of course, about the school, about seniors. I mean, I'm a senior. So there's just, I think we need a budget. I hope this is helpful. As a lifelong resident of Thompson, I have voted in more referendums on the budget than I care to think about. This time is different. I know there are people who don't believe in government, who see the government as interfering in their lives and choices. I think government does serve a purpose, and as frustrating as it is at times, I would rather work to improve and change things for the positive rather than live in the chaos that no government would bring. Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
4 seconds to spare.
Mr. Chair,
That's awesome.
Mr. Chairman,
People
Thank you
on,
to the committee for your work.
there are people online who can't hear.
I was just,
as people are speaking, if they can come a little closer.
Oh, they can hear us, they just can't hear the
Right.
audience, fair enough.
Correct. Thank you.
Is there any more cord on that mic?
No, there's not.
Okay,
Move it over.
sorry to put people on the spot, but we're gonna get a chair, a quick share.
Excuse me, up front here.
Get the AC.
Do you want to
Pretty comfy one too, 3-minute chair.
warm in here?
Any other citizen?
Your soda.
Yes.
I'll try it out, yes. Thank you.
You're soft spoken too. like-
No, I will not.
Oh,
I'll use
oh,
my, I'll use my
I'm sorry.
chef's teacher
I'm
voice.
sorry.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, too soon.
Yes, Donna Lynch, 212 Chase Road in Thompson. My comments are about very much related to what you opened with, Rob. About this is not a meeting for debate, it's not a meeting for interrogation. Following along with that is, in my mind, the idea of tone. And I think tone is really important. I think what we're trying to do, hopefully, is work together as a community to make this happen, whether we're talking about the Board of Finance, the Board of Ed, any board or commission in town. I think it's critical that we all work together. And I think ultimately, I would like to still believe, in spite of what our track record's showing right now, that we're working to make the best decisions that we can for our whole community. I think that's critical. To that end, I just want to remind citizens and as well as board members, anyone who's a resident of town and serves in some capacity, that our town employees are working really hard to do their best. And I think that we need to still continue to treat them with kindness and courtesy. Remember that some of them are working in a short-staffed situation. I'm, again, going to choose to believe that they're all doing the very best that they can to serve their community. And I would hope that we would treat them with the same respect that we would when they were fully staffed. Thank you. I'm going to stop there.
Rob, I didn't get the address of that last person.
I didn't.
Mike, would just
Right.
get that, please.
Okay, are there any other citizens in the room that would like to make a comment at this time? You could shout from the end or go up to the front.
Sure.
I won't start your time until you get here.
Wow, I love these chairs on your bad back.
No, sorry.
But I know we can't afford anything nicer than
Not
that.
yet. Yeah, maybe
So-
after the budget passes, we'll have.
I doubt it, but anyway, Roman Jameson, 56 Taylor Road. One of our few remaining dirt roads in town. So far you've cut back on probably everything I use in town, transfer station, the library. I don't go to senior events, but I certainly know people get stuff out of them. I believe they have meals there and, that's good. I mean, I'm a senior, but I don't go there yet, but I may need it someday. I don't know how we get people to vote. I really don't. Except that for me, I'm not on Facebook. I know I've had this conversation many times. I miss out unless it's in the shopper's guide with a villager, or I hear it on Winnie. I don't know what's going on in this town. Because I'm not gonna drive down here every day to look at all the notices. Just the way I am. But anyway, so one of the things I'm thinking, and I'll just say, I hate those plastic containers on the edge of everybody's driveway. At night, I see these dark shape and I'm going, oh, is that a person? Is that a dog? Is that a deer? Anyway, I hate all this. If I wanted that stuff, I'd live in the city. Garbage trucks, those big garbage trucks, Casella, stopping here, there, it's like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I can't afford waste pickup, I need our transfer station. And I try and treat it really well. The library, of course, I use. I come into the town hall and, pay taxes, ask questions. But I really don't. I wish I had an answer of how we reach people both nationally and locally and get them interested in voting for their, I don't know, self-interest or whatever. I'm not sure what else to say. It's like, I hope we can pull this off, because well, I will say, okay, so I've never had children of my own. I spent 2 years at Turtle Lot. My parents paid taxes probably 1947 until my mom died in 99. And my sister and I have both been paying taxes since we got properties. Never, had any kids go to school, but I believe in education. I believe we need a lot more education at this time in our history. So I'm not into laying off a bunch of teachers. That's my time.
Sorry for the abrupt ending.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other citizen in the room? Yes, please.
Wayne O'Brien, 108 Fabian Road. Been a lot of things going on, crazy, but fact of the matter is, I think the town side budget was pretty close to what people would have accepted. I really do. I think your problem is with your school side. You've taken the rainy day money, put it in where you cut from the school to try to not hurt the school. But people are seeing that. The school is still way up. Town is down. Service is going crazy. And guess what? We're in this. We gotta find a way to put a couple $100,000 back to the town side. Take some from the rainy day fund, put it back in the rainy day fund, cut the school down like it should be cut down. Before COVID, it used to be a $200,000 or $300,000 increase every year. Now it's $1 million every year. The last 4 or 5 years, $1 million, $1 million, $1 million. You got us. Where does it stop? Oh, by the way, this reval you talk about, I'm looking at an $800 to $900 increase with everything that's shifted around. I was at 1,300. And if you don't fix this year's budget, you're gonna have about a $1.5 million shortfall for next year before you even start. You've got to turn around, fix this budget, and you gotta fix it with the school side, because only the school side can be cut. Right now. That's it. Once that $1 million goes to that school, it's there for next year. And I'm looking at another $700 to $800 increase. And how many times can you keep doing that when you got people that are just on Social Security and small pensions? You want to force everybody out? Is that what we're doing? We got to come up with a solution that everybody can live with. I mean, no offense, you say, well, it's 60% of the people don't get an increase. Well, how come my little 1,200 and something square foot ranch went up 100% on the land and 88% on the house? I mean, I went from 171,000 to 519. We're crazy here. Something is seriously out of whack. And I talked to Paul, he goes, well, you're too close to Massachusetts. They like your property. So I had another person say, that's official, well, just sell your house and move. I'm not selling my house, I built it, that's our retirement home. I retired to Thompson. I have not used, the only facilities I use is town hall, the transfer station, occasionally I go over to the library. Other than that, I don't take anything from the school, but we do need to educate our kids. We do. But my thought, and it's always been my thought for the last 8 years or so, let's talk to the state. Let's talk to Broughton Boatyard, talk to Sikorsky, talk to Pratt Whitney, talk to them, see if they will help us. Talk to the state about making our high school into a vocational school that will prosper. It will be amazing, I'm sure. I mean, we have to start thinking out of the box, putting the same round peg into the square hole just ain't working. We're down to unbelievable, the numbers in the high school.
I know. Thank you. Appreciate your comments.
Yep.
Any other citizen in the room? Make a comment?
Yeah. How's everyone doing tonight?
Uh,
Yourself?
So
Good.
far, so good.
Bob Wojak, 47 Sunset Hill Road. I'll speak for the young people, I guess. I have a bias. I'm an educator myself. And I've worked closely with the education department over the last couple of years. Ironically, I find it interesting that the concern is, and it's just a bias, that the concern is not education with our students, but transfer station, other things. I just find that interesting. I will say that the work that a lot of the teachers, educators, and administrators have done, and I worked hand in hand with them. I feel terrible about them because they worked hard, and to see the cuts, I feel bad for them. I definitely think that there should be things that we should work towards. But I will say this, that just like the value of everything, the value of education in your school department, in your schools, in your town, if those go away, possibly value of your property is gonna go away, good. Just a thought. I'll just leave it at this, that education is the key. And to support our education and administrators is very important. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other citizens in the room would like to make a comment? Please come up. No, I'm just presenting this. I got sideways. Go ahead.
Kristen Schultz, 4 Jersey Lane. So I'm gonna say what everybody else doesn't want to hear, and that if it was really about the money, every citizen would be sitting here telling you to close that transfer station because we are $200,000. Correct me if I'm wrong, Bill.
All right.
Yeah, we are losing $200,000 every single year on that. So we're talking slash the schools. The school's horrible. You say that, but then you want me to subsidize your trash, but you don't want to subsidize my children's education, which benefits everybody. So I'm never one to ask you to cut services. Like it's not that I actually want to see that happen. It's just a frustrating back and forth again with the town, the school, to hear people say the school is awful and useless. I have 3 children in that school that are proof that that school is doing what it should do. And when they hear things like that, that affects them. You know, those are like your future doctors, people that are going to be maybe working at your businesses. Like you shouldn't, I don't know, be talking about people like that. Like you want value in those people. So I know you don't have children in the school, but they are growing up and affecting your lives. And I am saddened that we can't get this budget together, and I don't like to see cuts anywhere. I use a lot of the town services. I support the elderly. I support the school, the library. It's sad to see the programs go. So that's all.
Thank you very much. Any other citizen in the room?
Behind you.
I'm real quick. My eyeball. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
step behind you, Bill.
I got, who's next? Actually,
Hi, Sue Salisbury, 4 Red Ridge Road. I just want to say, I think education is extremely important in the community. I think a lot of people who are voting against it, what I'm hearing is they're talking about the low numbers of attendees, the student body, but the high cost of what it takes to run the school. So I think thinking about alternatives, like somebody brought up, making a vocational school out of the high school or something, some way to grow the attendance to meet what the cost is. Because if you compared it, I don't know all these figures, I truthfully will say that, but other towns have similar budgets for much higher population, so the student per capita cost is a lot less. So just throwing that out, because maybe if while you're doing your Board of Finance meetings, thinking about reorganizing to try to get it to pass, think about like for the future, how can it kind of change to bring in more so the students still get that valuable, important education, but maybe the cost isn't as much because there's less students, so they need less teachers for that. Not that I want anybody to lose their job, I don't want that. And I want the kids to have a greater expansive education. But what else can be put on the table to think about creatively making it more valuable in the eyes of the community to help and vote yes? I think that's really what people are looking at. They don't want no education, they don't want bad education, but they want a reasonably cost-effective education. I think that's what I'm hearing from people I'm talking to.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Sonia Tebow, 46 First Street. I just want to say, I mean, I'm pro-education. So, and it's when everyone keeps talking about the vocational school in Thompson, Melinda Smith's done like a fabulous job. I've never met her. I don't know her, but it's one of the best superintendents we've had, in my opinion, for like a number of years. When she first came in, she did the boat building program. She's got the welding program going. She has the cooking program, the culinary program, which I know she's had, like she has the seniors go up there and she's done it at the end of the year. And so they've seen firsthand how it runs. So she's kind of transferring it a little bit. So she's got these vocational programs going up at the high school, which I think is she's trying to keep some of the students here in Thompson instead of leaving. So that's had a huge impact. And is the cuts. I think people need to be careful, again, in my opinion, about this Facebook thing, because it's people going back and forth with their opinions, and you really got to be careful to find out the facts. So I think that's why it's important to contact like you guys, the selectmen, and everyone, and find out what's really happening, because we can get lost in the social media and everyone's opinions going back and forth about what's happening. And then you get lost about what the true numbers are, what the true facts are, and with this bickering back and forth. So we got to go back to what Donna said. I think it was Donna, right? About the kindness and sticking to the facts in the community and what's really happening here in town. Because Melinda's posted several times what's really being cut from the school. So you got to read her letters and not what people are spouting on social media. Because if those cuts really happen, we're going to be sorry. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other, yes, please come up.
Sarah Eddy, 9 Fabian Woodstock Road. I also am highly supportive of the school, specifically everything that Melinda Smith has done. She's touched my family personally. As of September, will have 3 kids in the school system. But I want to take that back a little bit too and say that my husband was born and raised in the house that we own now. We are small business owners in this town and have made decisions to stay here forever. But this isn't 1984 anymore. This isn't 2000 anymore. It's 2025. So, you know, the things that change over all of those generations and all of those lifetimes, you can't just expect it to stay the same cost as it was in 1984, in 2000. Even this whole pre-COVID thing, like, yes, it's pre-COVID for a reason. Like, there's a period at the end of that. Everything costs more, but the people in this room and everywhere, you know, not everybody's getting these 5% raises. Not everybody can fund that part of it, and I get it, but everybody needs the basic right to have an education in the town that they were born in, and see that through their 18 years and send them off into the real world. If they don't have that, then what future do we have? So we got to support our kids. Period.
Thank you. Any other citizen in the room? Please come on up.
Buddy, I'm Peter Beck from 685 Fabian Road.
You say Peter Beck?
Peter Beck, yes. Sure you can hear with an R. I'm not good at this. My mind has gone completely blank.
Okay.
All right. I was watching the Board of Ed on YouTube just the other night. And Bill, you did a great job defending the Medicaid and whatnot. We all sit here on Board of Finance nights debating all these things. And then they just kind of disappear after the meeting ends. And then everybody turns to Facebook and debates and this and that. And then we turn to, well, you're spouting misinformation here and over here, but there's no record to go back to cite on what actually happened at these meetings, because I can't watch them on YouTube or anywhere, as far as I can tell. They just are gone.
They are recorded.
Well,
We can get you.
They're visible, yeah.
Well, go ahead. I don't
all right,
wanna-
they're
I didn't
recorded,
mean
but
to-
I mean, how many people here are going to contact the town and say, I need the recording of the Board of Finance meeting? I didn't know I could do that, and I can't imagine many people are
It's
going.
posted.
You
on
can,
the
you can do it
minutes.
online.
The minutes of the meeting are posted and the
Well,
recording is attached. Well, now you
Right.
know.
I
So
mean,
thank you
right,
for
I
bringing
mean,
it up.
I know, but I. All right, anyway. Anyway, I guess that's all I got to say, because I can't think of the 4 other points I wanted to mention.
It's okay.
Thank
We
you.
understand. Access to information is important. Thank you.
Okay.
Any other citizen in the room who'd like to make a comment? In-room citizens. Everyone here. Everyone's good. Okay, excellent. We'll move online.
Brian LaFrida was first.
Okay. Brian LaFredo, you're up. Floor is yours.
All right, Brian LaFredo, 388 Lowell Davis Road. Good evening. Thank you all for the great efforts you've made in trying to work through this process. In particular, I would like to single out Brian Lynch, who was on the record of saying he did not favor cutting one more dollar from the budget, and Rob Wurge, who is on the record for protecting what is left of the town surplus. I ask this board to follow their example and show the courage needed to maintain level funding. I am here to say that any vote to make further cuts is nothing short of financial malpractice. Any cut made is not an across-the-board action. Budget cuts affect different subsections of the community: students, parents, seniors, transfer station users, etc. But never everyone at once, and especially those who lose their jobs, their income. In other words, there are people who would get full advantage of lower taxes with any budget cuts, while others lose services or pay more. Is 27% of the voters the will of the people, as they say? I'd say it's the 73% who didn't vote who represent the majority. The people have not spoken, just the most motivated and angriest. Many of those with good reason because of revaluation. However, revaluation represents fair property values, and taxation should be based on fair valuation. And the rest of the town shouldn't have to sacrifice service or benefits because of that. As each successive budget has been presented, we have heard a rallying cry for even a lower budget. We heard that a flat budget of 19.29 was needed. Well, we got there. Now I'm even hearing 16s. The line keeps moving, and unless this board is fully prepared to cut the tax rate to 17.5, as was said in that letter, or less, then I say the madness stops here. The more you cut, the more they want, and the more vulnerable segments of the community, of the population, suffer. 60% are getting lower tax bills. Enough is enough, as the no side likes to say. If you make another cut and the town votes no, are they voting no because they want more cuts? Or are they voting no because they think you've gone too far? I, for one, am likely to vote no on any budget that is under 19.29, and I bet I won't be alone. Send this budget back to referendum as is. It won't be the first time that has been done. Make a statement that this is your line in the sand. You have a responsibility to the townspeople who elected you, yes, but you also have a fiscal responsibility to the town. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Mr. O'Neill, you're next.
Good evening. Thank you, the Board of Selectmen, for your continued hard work and dedication to this difficult budget season.
George, sorry to interrupt you. Real quick, could you state your address? for the
I'm
record?
sorry.
That's okay.
George O'Neill, 122 Fabian Road, North Grosvenor. I know this has been a difficult, demanding process for everyone here, and I know many of you, and I wouldn't want to be in your chair. I want to sincerely recognize the time, effort, and thought that you've all invested. It's difficult. That said, we've now had 3 budget proposals rejected, most recently by nearly a 2-to-1 margin. That's not just a disagreement over numbers. It reflects a deeper concern about long-term sustainability for this town. We need to have a budget pass. I'm certainly in favor of voting in favor of it. However, I want a commitment from this commission that you'll do something structural, and I'll touch on that later. The school budget accounts for roughly 70% of the town's total expenditures. Well, that's not unusual. It raises an important question. Is the current structure of our school system aligned with what the town can realistically support? Enrollment has declined about 20% over the past 10 years. And look, realistically, we don't see a future that's going to change that or the numbers to support it. Yet, the overall cost of the school system has continued to grow. Valuable programs like AP courses, sports clubs, and enrichment activities are part of that cost. But many of these may not be required statutorily by the state of Connecticut. And the voters may not fully understand their financial impact. You know, do we know what we must do, what we want to do, and what we'd like to do? Those are really fundamental questions. I believe it's time not only to provide transparency around what's required versus what's optional, but to go further and to begin a serious kinds of discussion about right-sizing our school system, notwithstanding Mrs. Smith and the school chair's wishes. This needs to match our town's population, our financial capacity, and our long-term outlook. I put this down to this commission. This is a challenge, but also it's an opportunity. I respectfully ask the board to help lead that conversation and work with the Board of Education, the Board of Selectmen, toward structural changes that creates a more sustainable, accountable, and community supported system that works. You know, it's nice to have a big system, but can we really afford it? I mean, in any budget, I can only spend what I have to spend. I can't spend on something I shouldn't spend on something I don't have. And for boards and politicians to blame the citizens for this failure is way over the top. So, gentlemen and ladies, I wish you would just right-size the school. Is the school too large? Do we have too much? Are we buying services that aren't required by statute? And the people of the town of Thompson need to know that. And you as a board need to point out what's required, what's optional, and what they want to have, because I don't see that visibility. I don't see that clarity. And for that, the work you've done so far is appreciated. The real work now may be about to shift from a year-to-year budget, which will go through this each year, or to a long-term solution. Find a solution that solves this challenge. Right-size the school. Education needs taxpayer limits. Thank you very much for your time and your service.
Thank you, George. Sorry to cut you short.
Got it.
Next up.
Jenny Rocca?
Jenny, I don't see Jenny. Jenny in the
Can you hear
corner.
me? Can you hear me
Yeah,
okay?
we got you, Jenny. You're up.
Awesome. Okay. Jenny Racca, 151 Wager Road, North Grosvenor. This is my first time attending one of these meetings and speaking. I'm a parent and I'm very discouraged about how this budget season has gone. There is such negative narrative when it comes to our school system. My daughter is 16 and she's been in the school system. She was 3 years old. She has had an amazing education considering the limits that this town has put on this education. She has thrived in this school system, and social media continues to weigh heavily on what happens in this school. There is such a contingent in this town that would love to have all of these schools shut down. I don't think that that is the way that we should go about this. You need to look at what we have and be appreciative of what we have. We have a wonderful leader in Melinda Smith who has done fantastic things with this school. She has a welding program. She's partnered with multiple agencies to get things into our school to drive student enrollment. There's a CNA course. There is a cooking course. There's tons of things that they are doing. The special education department, Christopher Jones, amazing administrator. All of these people are an asset to your town. And I would ask that you please do not cut this education budget anymore. These kids are our future. They're the people in our town. We all got an education. And yeah, maybe we did have some of those extras. I don't think it's fair to our children that we deprive them of what we once had. And they all are looking to us to be role models. And I will tell you right now that a lot of people in this town should be ashamed of how they react and how they talk to one another, because it is not setting the right example for the children of this community. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenna. Next up,
Erica L.
Erica L., you're up next.
Hello, thank you for letting me speak. I had a few points that I wanted to make. First of all, I hear a lot about the transfer station being a big drain on the budget. And I can agree with that. Those numbers look really, really high. A question that I had, which does not have to be answered now, but just putting it out there, is can we raise the cost of the pass to maybe $20 to help cover that?
Excuse me, Erica, sorry to cut you midstream. I don't think
I'm
you
sorry,
actually
I forgot to
mentioned-
tell you where I live. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Erica Airline, I live at 659 Quinnebog Road, North Grosvenor.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You were at raising $20 when I cut
Right,
you off.
raising it up to $20, and then maybe that could help cover some of the cost of it, because the transfer station is a service that I use very regularly. And I'm willing to pay more for it, because a private trash service where I am is going to cost me could cost me up to $80 a week. And that's something I don't have in my budget. I can see how some people also, speaking of the budget, maybe are voting no, because not that they want to deprive our schools or that they want to say no, because there are people who want to do that, but because they're being squeezed elsewhere. Like, I can just say my grocery bill alone has increased almost 3 times. My electric bill has increased over 3 times. The increase in the property tax that we had in February was a big shock. And while it is spread out over months, it wasn't in my budget. I didn't fully know it was coming. I think my next point is then communication from the town. I didn't even know the budget had failed 3 times until something showed up in the newspaper and the people I live with pointed out, like, oh, hey, our budget has failed. I had no idea. And that's not from a lack of checking the website, looking at things. I don't go to the Facebook page very often. I don't really read the local little newspapers. I get a lot of stuff through Facebook, but not like that. Maybe if there's something that major going on, is there a way to set up a phone thing? Because I know I give my phone number for the transfer station. So maybe there's a way to set up something. Also, I do think we need to support our schools very strongly. My nephew's in the school system. He is doing amazing. The teachers are amazing. They are very communicative. They deserve our support. But with that said, maybe some of the points of, are there things that are being, not that we want to give the children less, because I am a teacher. I don't want to give kids less. Maybe we need to look at that optional of, like, what are some things that we can cut so that we can provide the best for them? That vocational school thing sounds pretty awesome. I grew up in Woonsocket, Rhode Island. They have a vocational school attached to their high school, chances to learn some real world skills. And actually the school brought in money with the mechanics, with the computer sciences class, with the childcare program that they ran there. That might be something to look into. I know the last speaker, thank you for letting me know about that, talked about the CNA course coming in, all those things. But does a vocational school maybe bring in more options? And that's all I really wanted to say. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Erica. Who's up next?
Bill and Beverly Warner.
Bill and Beverly Warner, you have the floor.
Hello, Mr. Chairman. First off, thank you for reading my email earlier. I would like to comment on the remarks to it, though. With the revaluation, the grand list went up 43%.
Sorry,
Can you speak
excuse
up?
me, Bill.
Lowell Davis Road,
Yeah. Could you state your number of Lowell Davis Road?
243.
Thank you very much.
Anyway, with the grand list going up 43%, 19.9 is level funding for the town, but it's not for the average taxpayer. According to the assessor, the average assessment increased was 60%. So at 19.9, the average taxpayer taxes will increase $432. So it's not level funding for the average taxpayer. And I think if you check with the assessor, you'll find out that the average taxpayer is actually looking at a 60% increase because there was a large shift from residential properties to business properties, where the business properties went way down while the residential went way up. And I know there's many taxpayers that I've been talking to where their taxes are going up $1,000, $2,000, one even $4,700. So just keep in mind, 19.9 may be level for the town, but it's not level for the taxpayer. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up,
Candida.
Candida. Floor is yours.
Oh, sorry, I was just trying to unmute.
No worries. Please,
Yeah.
please state your name and address.
Candida Tattlebaum, and I'm at 326 Reardon Road.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Only thing I just gotta say is just on Facebook, there's just so much misinformation going around, and it is very disheartening. Mother of a 3-year-old who is autistic, goes to the school and is in a wonderful program. It's the best program I've seen so far for all of the autistic kids. And he's thriving very well. And it's very disheartening when you're hearing a lot of people complaining about the school system, shut down the school, cut the funding of the school. Why is there so much special education funding for the school? No parent asked for a special education child. It just happens. We push through to get these kids where they need to be. And it's very hard. So people need to stop with the rhetoric, stop with the complaining, and stop with the whole thing about special education. It hurts us parents who have these children. And yes, I do want to touch about the transfer station. We need a lot of that because having roadside pickup, it's going to cost me about $800 a year. I can't afford that. That's not in my budget, especially when I have a special education child I pay a lot of fees for. So would like to see the special education program still keep going. The school system needs to keep going. These children need to thrive. They need the funding. They need the support of the community. It doesn't take one parent to raise a child. It usually takes a community. It takes a village. But I'm not feeling that with Thompson. And I have to agree, the Thompson residents on Facebook should be ashamed of themselves with the rhetoric that they put out there, especially toward the school system. These children need this support because they are this town's future. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Candida. Next up,
Brianna.
Brianna.
Yeah, Brianna.
Brianna, you're on mute. Brianna, you're
I
on
got
mute.
it. Sorry, you guys.
You
For
guys.
some reason, my phone was not doing what it needed to do. Hi.
Name and address, please.
Hi, Brianna Cairns, 22 BD Ave in North
Thank you.
Grosvenor. This is my first meeting here. I'm not going to pretend to know exactly what goes on in these meetings, but I will speak to the school and everything else that has been said so far. I am a proud Turtle Rock graduate. I graduated in 2003. I have lived in Thompson the majority of my life. I came here at my daughter, actually even younger than my daughter. I came here when I was 10 years old. And I have to say, I love the Thompson school system. I loved my teachers. I love the administration. And now that I have a daughter in the school system, she's in 7th grade, I need to speak on how well the school is doing with her. She, like everybody else said, is thriving. She does great. And I know there are both sides to this argument of transfer stations in the school and people not being able to pay higher taxes and all of that just on the ears. But I just want to speak to the school and say that it is doing, maybe it's not doing a service for you personally, but it is doing a service for us parents. And it is so refreshing to have a school that my daughter can go to where she feels welcome. And I mean, the other topic I just want to touch on is, you know, I'm millennial, right? I am known for, like, we are known for this digital age, and like, how can we get people voting on these things? And I want to say, maybe some of the younger generation that's in this meeting that maybe hasn't come to these meetings, maybe we show up more. And maybe we post more on our personal pages. I post very limited on my pages just because I don't want to get backlash from a community that seems so against our student body. It's very disheartening, but I think it's very important to say, just to the younger crowd in here that's on Facebook and the older crowd, if you're on Facebook, maybe post about your budget. Maybe be more vigilant about posting and putting it out there. Because yes, the town can do some of these things, and maybe if you're not aware, you're not aware. But if you have friends that are posting, maybe you'll become more aware of these things as they come up. So I'm going to make more of a point to post these on my personal pages, because this failed budget has affected my daughter directly, and that's not fair to her. So if we need a community that is voting, because I know the voter turnout was really bad, maybe we just stay vigilant and keep posting so our families and our community know about it. And that's really all I need to say.
Thank you, Brianna. Next up,
Angela Miller.
Angela, you're up next. Could you please state your full name and address for us? Angela, if you can hear us, you're on mute.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we have you.
Hi, thank you. So sorry about that.
No
So
worries.
my name is Angela Miller and I live at 338 Chase Road in Thompson. I'm here tonight because I have 3 young children in the Thompson school system. I am deeply concerned about the negative impact the budget cuts will have on our schools. My children, our children, will suffer if services are taken away. I have a little girl who struggles with math and reading. She has benefited from the after-school math program these past few years, and I was deeply saddened to hear that the program and the late bus are being cut. In my opinion, there is no better place to invest money and resources than into our children. Our children are our future, and we are doing a tremendous disservice to our entire community if we take from our schools. Thank you.
Angela, sorry for the distraction. Did you wrap up? I'm sorry.
I guess the connection must not be very good. I did finish, but I'm not sure that you heard what I said.
We didn't hear the last sentence, that's all.
Oh, I was just saying that I really hope that the budget cuts do not go toward the school. I want to give the school all of our support. That we need to give the money to our kids and to our schools. That was it. Thank you.
No, thank you. Is Val up next?
Yeah.
Valerie, you're up next.
Nope, Valerie Clark, 105 Elm Road. I have a number of comments. I'll try to keep them brief. First, for tonight's discussion, I personally would like to hear how much money is being saved with the furloughs and the other expense reductions that have recently occurred for this cycle. And I would like that number to include an adjustment for the retroactive pay, which will be owed to those salaried employees who continued to work during the furlough. And you asked for a list of things I support. I support the highway department. I don't support all the paving that happened last year. I support dirt roads. Mr. Jameson made a good point of that. I'd like to see some more. Pick a road you can start with, make it more dirt. And I also support the transfer station. And people may not be aware that everyone in the community benefits from the transfer station. There's an opportunity at the transfer station to go in for free to drop off the mattress for the mattress program, so you can recycle mattresses there. And there are also daily passes that can be purchased. So everyone benefits, and those people who are able to use the transfer station at the low cost, it keeps the trash from the roadsides and having the highway department have to pick that up. I believe, as Mr. O'Neill said, that there's something needs to be looked at in terms of the budget at the school and whether the buckets that money are being put into are the correct buckets. I was trying to do some research on the Connecticut recommended guideline for administrative ratios, and there is a guideline, and they say it should be aligned with the expenses for student materials such as books and paper. So it's worth taking a look at what that recommendation is and adjusting the school budget accordingly. And last, I wanted to echo what Ms. Lynch said about tone. And she may not agree with what I'm about to say as whether that is indeed her thought process on tone. But as you know, I attend a lot of meetings in town, including this one. Particularly at the last Board of Finance meeting, I can see why people in town are angry and have lost their trust in the elected officials, including those on this board. I heard tone-deaf statements about sending a budget without changes over and over until people are forced to vote yes. I heard remarks about consuming alcohol during the meeting. I heard commentary to a public who may not be able to afford food or maybe housing or medication about expensive vacations. And that was topped off by comments from a first selectman who stated that the good stewards of the community are the ones begging to pay their bills and that no voters wouldn't pay their taxes. All this is embarrassing, and it contributes not to a solution nor to trust building within your constituency. I would encourage you tonight to reduce the budget, get it to where people are expecting it to be so that it is affordable for the residents of the town. Mr. Warner's statement about the commercial properties being devalued and the residences being increased in value, I understand why that is, but that was not made clear to me at any point during the reval discussions. So thank you. I'm going to not make my further comments, but you do need to address what I have said. Thank you.
Thank you, Val. Marie, anyone else up?
Not that I can see.
Okay, super. That's a wrap. I'm gonna wrap us up with a couple of items.
Point of order, please. There was someone who is not able to raise their hand in the chat.
That was Erica L, I believe, and she's
No,
already.
someone saying under the name Santa.
Yes, that's me. How are you?
Yep, hang on a minute.
State name and address, but I didn't realize.
Let him speak.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, name's Brian Falk, 55 Goldman Road, North Grovenordale.
Okay,
Go by
thank
the
you.
alias of Santa sometimes.
That's okay. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate the humor.
So just a quick thing to throw out there. Myself, I'm kind of curious to know what exactly the town does or has in place to encourage new business in the town. And reason I ask is it just seems to be going either nowhere or more businesses leaving. All the vacant buildings in town, are taxes paid up on those? What's going on with those? And why can't we make those something better for the town and for tax revenue? Take some of the burden off of the taxpayers. So just, something to think about. I don't really, I almost want to say due diligence. Does anybody in town do anything, with encouraging new business or I mean, we don't have much in the town. It just seems like it's getting smaller. That's all I have. I just,
Okay, well, thank you, Brian. Glad
Sure.
we got you in. We almost lost you. Is that
Thank you.
it for online?
I don't think I see anybody else right now.
Okay, we're gonna move on to the next topic. I'm gonna wrap this one up because I have a couple of things for the board and for the community. Under citizens' comments, I'd like to go into the record on the minutes. On 6/12, we had a citizen comment from James Clark, communicating to us about discrepancies between DSS and the school district's Medicare reimbursements. He said he'd come back and follow up with all of his findings. We haven't heard anything. I want to go into the record that many hours were spent on what was actually submitted for Medicare reimbursements, the exact dollars, what was actually approved and sent back and cash it and deposited in our banks, and everything tied out to the penny. And I'd like to have that in the record. So if folks are reading our minutes, we didn't let something sit on a potential that we don't know there's discrepancies. Thank you, RJ. I want to go over a couple of notes that I took for the broader community because I think it's important. There's a lot of things that were said through citizen comments. I said it's not citizen question and answer, and it's not debate, but I want to respond to a few things because I think it's important for people to be informed. The first was some talk about that we've cut the seniors, we've cut the transfer station, we've cut roads, we've cut library, etc. We, the Board of Finance, have not cut that. That's a result of not having funding in the town, not being able to afford that. And with furloughs, and if you noticed, I don't think anything was cut 100%. I hope that's a correct statement, Bill and Amy, but things were cut back. And that's painful for everyone, but I just want to be clear that wasn't part of the resetting the budget. In other words, if the transfer station is down to 2 weeks, it's not because the board said we're going to take $200,000 out of the transfer station. That's a result of we're into July. We need funding to run the town. We didn't send out tax bills, so money's not coming into the town. We're actually living on our surplus, which I'll get to in a minute. Second item, let's talk about a rainy day fund. Let's talk about further cuts. The net budget is up $154,000. So out of $30+ million, there's 154 to the positive. It's almost flat. The amount we're raising from taxes is flat, absolutely flat. It's actually $1,000 less, but I'll call it flat. And that's because we moved some money from the surplus to reduce that burden on the taxpayers. The other thing was the reval. A lot of discussion about the reval. Call the assessor's office. Has been brought up many times. Many people are surprised when they find out that their house went up $412 and their cars went down $412. Wow, I'm actually net neutral. Not everyone. I'm not saying everyone, but 60% of people are going to find out that that's the case. And there's going to be people, particularly on the lake, where property values went up really high. They're going to feel that pain. And I mean, because of the value of their homes, they're going to feel that pain. But the broader group is going to be surprised if they call the assessor's office. The next two kind of go together, which was these facts and fiction on social media and something about after meetings, like where's the data? You know, if you go on the website for the data, if you're not I'm not a high-tech guy either. Call the town hall, call our official, the folks that work in the town hall. Call me, email me. I mean, people want to help. If you want data, reach out. Call the town hall and you'll be guided to where you can find the data. And as far as Facebook, the best thing I could say is check your source. You don't Google something and then say that's the gospel. You Google and go, really? Let me talk to some people that are experts. So check the source. Next thing is on right sizing the school. I want to be really clear. Every dollar we go below last year's budget, the state takes away $2. If you want to go $100,000 below last year, it's $300. So 100 you go below plus the 200 you don't get. And you can do that math. You say $1 million below, you get $3 million. That doesn't sound like a good deal to me. I've heard some people talk about what they use. I only use certain things. I don't come to this meeting and think about what does Rob Wirtz use, and I'm going to vote for all the things I use, and nor do my peers here. We all use different things. Some of us don't have children in the school. Some of us don't use the transfer station. Some of us love the rec department. Some of us go to the library every day. That's part of the whole of the community. So if we really want to go to a model that's pay for service, fee for service, and everything you go to, you pay for, what are we gonna do? I'm gonna pay a toll when I go up my road because only 20 people that live on my road, so all people on Lowell Davis are gonna pay to plow and sand Lowell Davis Road. I mean, it's a little ridiculous. We're in this together as a community. So I encourage people to think about that. Different people use different services. And then the last thing I want to clarify, because it came up again, about the 1929. Statement was 1929 is level funding for the town, but not for the taxpayer. That's absolutely unequivocally not true. It's not true. If you look at the 1929 as it affects just the homeowner, they're seeing that rise. Not every home, but almost every home has cars. So the mention was 432 rise for the taxpayer. It's 432 rise for a homeowner, not a taxpayer. I did the math that's a little more accurate. And I'll share the files with anybody that wants to be geeky and go through the Excel files. It's $413. And the reason why it's $20 lower is I took out all the homes that were built this year and the people that put garages on, and the people that put additions on. That's a different class. Their property value is going up because they invested in their property. If you pull that out, it's $413. The average automobile is going down $156.87. I have that math, and I can show anybody that spreadsheet if they want to look at it. And the average home has 2.63 cars. Now think about that. I don't think any home has 2.63 cars. People have 2 cars, they have 4 cars, they have 1 car, some people have 6 cars. 156.87 times 263 is $412.56 versus $413. For the average person that lives here, that owns a home here, that has cars here and pays taxes here, it's flat and it's zero. I just want to be really, really clear on that. Businesses, properties for businesses did contract. I mean, I shouldn't say they contracted. They rose, but not at the pace that residence rose. So if residential rose on average 60%, in commercial industrial rose less than that. It still rose, but less than that. So they are seeing a reduction. But overall, and I don't have the numbers, I wish I had them in front of me. If you stack up the value of all the homes versus the value of those businesses, it's a smaller number in retrospect when you look at the totality of what's the tax base in town. The tax base in town are residential homeowners. So I know to the board, we're going to go right into budget workshop, but I think it's important. A lot of people on the line, there's a lot of people in the room. I think it's important that facts are spoken and questions are answered with regard to the budget.
Thank you for doing that.
You're welcome.
I think it's very helpful.
Having said that, we're now going to move into budget workshop. I'm all sideways. I don't even know what papers are. Here we are. We're going to move into budget workshop, and we're going to start with some comments from the board members. I thought rather than just getting into right into the action, we'd talk about what we've thought about since July 2nd. And normally I'd kick it over now. Do you as a board mind if I go first?
Please do.
Sure. By all means.
Okay. On the 7-2 meeting, we talked about a temporary mill rate. We talked about potentially who does that. I think we agreed it's in the purview of the Board of Selectmen. I had done some reading, as did I think Brian, on the Connecticut statute 12-123. What was clear that night in that meeting was that we really didn't, because this is very rare, we really didn't have a handle on what the process was, what the protocol was. So we decided that while it seemed like a decent idea or an appropriate idea, we would table it so we could learn more. And what we've learned about that is that it's not a temporary mill rate. That's not even an appropriate word. It is setting a mill rate. If we go down that path of an unapproved budget and we go down a path of setting a mill rate, that means the Board of Selectmen decide what the mill rate is. They could ask the Board of Finance for their input and guidance, and they could ask anybody else they want. They set the mill rate. And that becomes how the town is funded. And that doesn't change. They set a mill rate at whatever number, that's the number, tax bills go out. What that doesn't do is it doesn't speak to the allocation of those funds. It just speaks to how much funds are coming in. The allocation of the funds is left to an approved budget, so we still need to approve a budget. it's highly unlikely that if they set a mill rate, we're gonna go out and approve a budget higher than that mill rate. Not impossible, but highly unlikely. The two scenarios are, it eventually gets approved at that exact mill rate, or it gets approved at a lower mill rate. If it gets approved at a lower mill rate, the offset, meaning people overpaid because the actual mill rate was less when the budget passed, that extra goes into fiscal 27. It gets earmarked for the following year. So while there's criticism around, why didn't we set a temporary mill rate? Why didn't we jump into it? First of all, we would have had it all wrong because we didn't fully understand it. Now we do much better. And secondly, I don't know how much of us would want an ending where, we overshoot it and we wind up future funding fiscal 27. So, and we've got backup from, we've talked to folks very experienced in this area. The president of the Connecticut Tax Collector's Office, Scott Antonson in the Tax Collector's Office did a fine job helping us do some research on it. Secondly, furloughs. So why the furloughs? I'm going to open by saying it's not easy. You're impacting people's wages, you're impacting people's lives. So I get fully that some people are hit and suffered by furloughs. I'll also say, not to make light of it, some people volunteered for furloughs. And others said, this is awesome. I've got some time off in the summer. So it impacts people on both ends of the spectrum in terms of the impact to their world. I was personally consulted, as were others. There's also a notion that this is all on Amy. It's not all on Amy. Amy's part of a 3-person board, and others opined on it and gave guidance and advice. And I was one of them, and I felt like it was the right thing to do for the town. Because the alternative was to throw a dart and try to pick a mill rate that will probably get wrong and have to deal with, the ramifications of fixing that while we're learning the whole process. So we need an approved budget to bring funding into the town. And the furlough is a temporary, for those that aren't familiar with furlough, it's not laying off or losing your job. Your job is actually protected. People can come back to their job. And it's a temporary layoff of sorts to help curb some of the costs, the outflows of cash to the town. Overall, the town is down $333,000 when you combine the town budget with the debt retirement and the capital. So pretty gutted in terms of prior year with $333,000 down. The school is at $487,000 above the prior year. That nets $154,000 that I mentioned earlier, and the tax warrant is flat at $21,733,000. That was a pretty big preamble to get to where we are today. And to reduce the 1929, there's a few options. I'd argue that none of them are good. First one is to reduce the town. I'm not ready to do that this evening. But if and when we have to get to that point, that means the services that are due to the furloughs that are reduced, some of those will be permanently reduced. In other words, I don't think we have a pathway to reduce the town budget further without permanently reducing some of the services. Not eliminating them entirely, and maybe not touching all of them. Maybe we agree that you only touch the transfer station, or you don't touch the transfer station, but you touch another one. But we're going to make some hard decisions on which services are going to be reduced. Again, maybe not eliminated totally, but reduced. I don't particularly like that, given that the town's $333,000 below the prior year. The second option is to move money out of surplus. That's the easy button. That's the easy button. If we didn't have the surplus that we had today, where would we be on July 2nd when the budget fits? We'd have no funds to support the services in town. That's suicide. It's very dangerous. I will not support it. We already took $290,000 out of the surplus. I agreed to that. I don't think we should be touching surplus any further. The third is to reduce the school budget. Reducing the school budget, highly unlikely it'll come out of special ed. Special ed is going to be what it is. It's already been reduced, and we're required to fulfill special ed. So if we reduce the school budget, The people that are impacted are not the people in this room or anyone on Zoom. It's the students in that school. In general ed are gonna be impacted by reducing the school budget additionally. So I don't think that that's a very good option for us. I think we go back to, referendum 4 without gutting things further out of the town, without permanent reduction in services. And without making a massive cuts to the school or the town. What I'd like to see us do, and when I will go around the room when I'm done, what I'd like to see us do is take $350,000 out of the school budget and move it into contingency. Monitor the town, that's 333 under, monitor the school throughout the year carefully. And if we don't spend that money in contingency, we can move it to surplus where we're already underfunded. If we run into trouble, because things are gonna happen, could happen to the town, it could happen to the school. We take our contingency from 90,000 to 440,000. That would be my recommendation to this group. And the reason why.
Let me just be so I'm clear. You want to take 300,000 from the school, 350. You want to move that into contingency in the town.
Correct.
Okay. And if the school comes in short,
or the town,
then we have the 300 or 440 or whatever to take, we can use the contingency. Yeah. I just want to, I'll just say this, I understand everything about the taxes and the reval was the perfect storm, and I understand the frustration of people. I can't even imagine. I'm afraid to look at what mine's gonna go up. All right, I understand completely. I'm afraid to see what mine's gonna go up. But what I don't hear is anybody saying, oh, thank you, I'm not paying anything on my cars anymore. Like you said, you made a great point.
Yeah.
You know, I hear all about the taxes of the houses, but nobody is saying, oh, by the way, thank you for lowering the taxes on my cars, and that's saving me, as you're saying, $400 a year on that. That's just a byproduct for them. They're not gonna say anything about that. They're just gonna be upset about the taxes on their house. I'm just gonna be honest, I'm not voting for any cuts. 19.29 and everything's gone up. Everything's gone up contractually everywhere. The town just started a new contract with the employees, the teachers, the school. I'm hearing about, let's have a vocational school. Well, people, let's understand a couple of things. First off, Melinda has done a phenomenal job of integrating sort of a technical issues at the school. But if you want to go into a vocational school, what do you think that's going to cost us for equipment and so forth? The budget would just skyrocket. You can't do that. I mean, that's right. She's implementing these things in a budget that really shouldn't be going to that. And she's doing a great job of retaining kids because of these things. So I understand, people say, well, let's go to a vocational school. It's not feasible for us. But what's the route the superintendent and her staff is taking is a nice route that is keeping people in on programs. And I think she's on the way of doing that in her own way, and with the welding and the school and the CNA and so forth.
Real life job skills.
That's right. Like I said, 19.29 was level funding. Everything's gone up. I understand that. Nobody complains that their house value went up, and when they sell it, they make an extra $200,000 or $300,000 on their house. I'm being realistic now, okay? I understand it hurts right now for their taxes, but, they'd sure like it that their house was worth 200,000 and now it's worth 450, and if they want to sell, it's a nice little profit. And I'm just saying, there's reval is reval. We've all lived with it, for a zillion years. So I don't have a problem if we cut the school to 330, put it in contingency. We have to understand that, they were short on special ed this year. We're going to be in the same situation. And I too, am not going to touch surplus, because you take out of surplus, We're already 290,000 short in next year's budget. We use surplus. Where's that money gonna come from? We've got to get it somewhere. So, if that's something, the way the board would like to go, I don't have a problem with that.
Well, it was a suggestion only, but.
But
thank you-
I mean,
thank you, Brian.
I don't have a problem with that, Rob.
I have a
Yes.
question about that. So if you do that, what does that do for the Board of Ed and Melinda with no budget or with that not being in there? Like, I have to assume that means POs can't be placed until you get to a point where that service is specifically needed? Or like, what is that, if you take it out of their budget, what does it actually stop them from being able to do before they would have to come here to ask for it?
Answer that. So the Board of Ed is obligated to balance the budget. So they will still have to go into the budget and reduce $350,000, which means positions, programs, they have to by law, that whatever number you give the Board of Ed, whatever the voters approve, they have to balance the budget to that. Even though I know you're trying to put a safety net for us, and I think it's a great idea, but they are still obligated by law to balance the budget.
What happens when you balance the budget in prior years and special ed runs higher than you expected?
Then we come back to the town.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Rob,
Yes, Steve.
just a few clarifications on your comments. You did mention that the school budget is up 487,000.
Correct.
We are limited by law as to how much we can cut. That would be the 487,000, which is the increase over the previous year. I'm not sure I'm sold on your idea, but I think it's something that's different and I'd like to consider it. With regard to the general town budget, you mentioned that it was down. The operating budget of the town is up almost $250,000. If you consider the estimated revenue for general operation of the budget, you are looking at since that decreased, you're looking at an increase on the operational budget side of $376,000. You did that by looking at capital. If we look at capital, we've taken out $608,000. There's next to nothing left there.
That's correct.
And that's what balances off your town side.
To be clear, and not to interrupt you, David, to be clear, I did say it was all three. the
I
full town
I heard you. I'm just clarifying that
I
the
understand.
operational budget
That's
is
correct.
somewhat different than the capital budget.
That's correct. Yep.
Where do we go from here? Yes, there are a few positions that we might save here and there. We might come up with 100 or maybe 150,000 in terms of positions and benefits on the town side. And I think you've looked at that, Rob.
Yeah.
I disagree with you with regard to setting the rate, what you called initially temporary mill rate. I think if we look at that closely, we can recommend to the Board of Selectmen what rate should be set. And you're concerned that whatever rate it is a bottom rate that we would have to meet, whether we do it tonight or at some other point. But the point is that brings income into the town. We have close to $3 million right now in the unreserved fund. Once September rolls around and the school payroll goes out, we're going to kill that very, very quickly. I still strongly believe that an educated temporary mill rate needs to be established to bring in monies from at least real estate. Personal property and motor vehicle can be delayed until a budget is set and a true rate is determined.
I need to jump in real quick.
Go ahead.
One, I did say I wasn't in favor of setting the rate, but not forever.
Yeah.
I would set, what you're talking about, I am in favor of if we have to go to around 5.
Yeah,
Meaning it's temporary, it's not forever. And number
Yep.
2, just for clarity, because we talked about this on the night of the 2nd,
Yep.
without all the information. If we go forward and make the recommendation of the Board of Selectmen, which we don't even have to, I mean, they could set a
Right.
rate, they could set a
Oh, I
rate, they could
understand.
walk out now
I
and go set a
understand.
rate, it's in their
Mhm.
purview. If they set a rate, we can send motor vehicle bills out, and because it's a reval year, we don't have to set it to last year's rate. Imagine that, if we did, it'd be 28.11. They could set the rate, this is additional of what we learned through Scott
Got it.
and the work that Amy and I and Bill and others that did in research. We could, the rate can be set, and again, it's not temporary, it's the rate, and all the bills can go up, including personal
So
property.
you're saying not a temporary rate, but establish a rate.
And that's what the statute says, yeah. I'm saying that's what we'd have to do. We set a rate, it is the mill rate for FY 26, period. Doesn't change. If you get it wrong, it goes into 27.
Well, I know.
Goes in the
that.
general
Yeah.
fund.
Well, it
For-
goes into on.
Earmark for 27.
yeah,
Doesn't sit in
earmark,
surplus.
yeah.
So I'd be in favor of setting the mill rate or having the Board of Selectmen set the mill rate. Either we set it the night of the next referendum, or they set it the night.
Well,
of the
it's
next
their
referendum. 'Cause then we're
prerogative.
out of time.
It is their prerogative after July 1st, isn't it?
That's why I said recommend. Correct.
Yeah. Well, you said we set it on the next,
Well, we could if it passes.
if it passes, yes. If it fails, then
they-
it's up to
then
the
they-
Board of
Then they would
Selectmen.
set it, or they could set it
Right.
in 10 minutes if they want.
I,
I'm real sorry.
no, no.
I
excuse me.
kind of
No,
cut Dave off. I want to make
excuse me,
sure,
no.
I want to make sure, you
Sure.
done, Dave?
Yeah,
Okay.
I thank you for the clarification.
Okay.
I was unaware that we were making a permanent decision.
I was too. I
Okay,
learned that too.
okay.
Steve, over to you.
I spent quite a bit of time struggling with why we're here, why I'm here. Am I here to just reflect the reflect the wishes of the voters? Is that my job? The voters don't want to spend any money. I should see how low we can make the budget. That's one choice. And representing the voters is not a crazy idea. Another choice is sort of representing the citizens of the town, but it's hard to know what they want. That's why we have votes. Or a third thing, I guess, is try to do what's right for the town. Think I hear that from you and others. I don't want to cave to someone who says, I just want a low tax rate. I'm not going to cave to that. If I had my druthers, I don't think I could have a prayer of this. I would restore the cuts we made before. I would restore the 400,000 to the school, the 290 to the surplus fund, and the 50 to the library. That's what I would do. And I think there's a good chance it'll pass. Because I think finally the citizens are waking up. I think that's a real option for us. I would not recommend cutting $350,000 out of the school budget. That, to me, is crazy. That is destroying the school. We're already cutting 5 positions before we're cutting another 6th grade teacher, the HR person, another special ed person, after school math, after school late bus, custodial services. And we want to cut more? That's crazy in my opinion. We can't do that. And if my job is simply to echo what the small number of people in this town who bothered to vote show, then I'm wasting my time here. I want to put a budget here that's good for the town. Good for our town, good for our community. I am tired of just cutting because I only go to the transfer station. I just can't do that. It's a waste of all of our efforts, in my opinion. And I spent a lot of time trying to figure out why I'm here. And I'm not here just to cut, but to figure out which thing I'm going to cut next. That's wrong. If I could, I'd restore the cuts we made last time, and I think we could get the budget passed. My 2 cents.
Thank you, Steve.
2 areas that as we've gone through the budget, one of the big things is obviously the transfer station. Now, we've talked several times about increasing the rates. If we're losing 200,000, the minimum it should be that we should be breaking even. A couple of people talk, they don't want to go to trash pickup because it'll be $800 for the year. I certainly understand that, and I don't want to do that. I love the ability to go 5 days a week and drop off whenever I want. If something smells in the backyard, I can take it to the dump. But what we pay for 5 days a week or 4 days a week, okay, and go a couple of times a day if I want, okay? We pay for extras here and there. I understand that. Want to get rid of a mattress, want to get rid of a couch, we pay. But that has to be increased to offset that deficit. There's 200,000 right there. The next thing I'm going to say, and it's always been a touchy subject in this town, is the firemen. We're given $80,000 a year at 5 of them, that's 400,000. What happened to the tax district? What happened to them putting together and combining or working together to get a tax? I don't mind paying a tax district if they're going to come to my house, but there is $400,000 that we could save in our budget. Steve, there's your money that could have gone back in. I'm sorry, but each year we keep giving to these and funding these things. It's time. People have said we need to start looking out of the box a little. Where's the tax district? Where are the people that started that? All right, that should be moving forward to take the burden off of the town. And we need to increase the rates at the transfer station to offset that. There's $200,000 there. Even if it went up $100 at $250, a taxpayer is still saving about $500 a year instead of having that come to the house. I'm sorry, it's still a bargain at $250. And it's ridiculous that I'm paying $75 because I'm a senior citizen, I'm sorry, it is.
Well, we raised that issue in the past at this meeting, and it's been said, and we've been told not changeable.
Yes.
Well, two things just to address, Mr. Lynch's statement. We have still been actively working on the fire tax district. Obviously, in a climate where there's so much anti-government rhetoric and don't tax me, we've pulled back a little bit.
Yeah, but I mean, you can't pull back because
I
what
know.
if we don't have the money? What if we
I
say
agree.
today, you know what, we need to cut $40,000 out of each fire district so we can help in the areas paving or for the general government, whatever. I mean, if anybody made out good out of this, we cut them just about what they were funded last year. They took no heed.
Right.
I understand what you're saying,
Yeah.
the taxes, but you know what? It's time that this moves forward. We can't keep funding them. And then they're upset when you don't fund them what they want.
Well, and I just will say that the ball is really in the fire departments, in the firefighters' court, because a petition just has to be brought. We are set to go.
Well, I mean,
We've
that's-
got a plan in place. We've got a slide presentation ready to go. So we just need someone to come forward with a petition, and it can't be me.
And I think that's why I'm bringing it up, Amy.
Right. No,
If
I
it sits there,
appreciate it.
why would I bring it up if I'm gonna get $85,000 a year? I don't need to do it. My people will get their stuff, they make out, all right, I understand the cost of everything. But these fire companies need to come forward and fund themselves properly, and if I have to pay X amount a year for tax, I'm more than willing to do that, but that helps out our budget on this side. To just not bring it forward because for whatever reason, they're not, I don't understand it. I just don't understand it. I'm not saying it's you.
No, I know.
It's the
It just-
fire districts that need to come forward. No, they need to come forward with a plan so that this can help us on the other side. So, I
And we
mean,
do have a plan ready. We just need to pull the trigger. And just the other item, there's approximately 1,900 permits that are sold each year, and that's a mix of everything, half year, senior, full. So yes, it would be about $100 increase to make up for the $200,000.
$250, when if you go with a private hauler, it's, $600 or $700, depending on how many barrels you need.
Right.
It's a bargain.
It is, even with the $100. Real quick, I want to make sure that you asked the question, but if you want more time, Nikki?
No, almost that, thank you.
So yeah, I guess there are a couple of things I will say. So I'm with Steve, and I think I made it clear in July when we sat there on the 2nd that I was the proponent also of putting things back in the budget. And I had the same reflection that Steve had. And I've talked to people, I've, looked at different things. And I realized that there's two components to sitting in this chair from Nikki's perspective. And one of those components is to represent the people that elected me. And I get that, right? And it's not just my party, because you don't know, right? It is everyone in this town. There were enough people that put me before the other people that I was running against that year.
All right. Still love you.
So I get that, right? So there's half of it, and I lost to Brian. I get it. I yield. All right. So I sit between them. And that's half of it,
Give you
right?
a seat anytime you want.
Half of it is to represent that. The other half is that the fiscal and financial responsibility to the town, to the school, and to the people. That's the other half of why we sit here. We have information that's given to us on a weekly or monthly basis, some of which is not given to town members or given to people, because it's information that has to remain with the town. It's not lack of transparency, it's just legal obligation. Just like when you go to your doctor and you sign a HIPAA form so your spouse can learn what's wrong with you. It's not because your doctor wants to hide your diagnosis from your spouse. It's because legally they have to. So all other information is readily available in all of the meetings, on our town website, in the papers that we print every month when we have these meetings. It's all there. You can read the budgets. And I think we've spent a lot of time listening to people and doing cuts that we're at a point where it is level funding, and it's still not good enough. So at that point, I believe the people who aren't showing up to vote may still need to be represented. And I don't know what they're asking for, because although people come out and talk about what's wrong with the budget and that things need to be cut and people's salaries are inappropriate, somebody better look at that salary and figure out the hourly amount, because I'm going to guarantee it's under minimum wage. And it's bull that people think they have the right to dictate about what someone else is making. I don't look at that. I look at what needs to get done. What do we need to support? What are the things that this town needs to move forward that keep everybody safe and have a better quality of life? You're not going to have that if there's potholes on your road. You're not going to have that if there's trash on the roads. It's just not going to happen. We need to be funding those things. So without that and everybody just spewing what they dislike and I read so much on social media, 2 people I have seen offer suggestions, and their suggestions were also reiterated tonight with people in the room. But other than that, no one has offered this team of 6 people where we could go cut when you tell us we're misspending. It's just not out there. Nobody is giving that kind of information. So from my perspective, I would like to go back and put some of those things back in. I would like to put some money back into paving. I would like to bring the town back to where it should be in order to function, and send that back out to the people who I think now we're starting to notice, because clearly there are more than 4 seats in this room taken, and there are more than 6 people online. And for those of you that showed up, I appreciate it. We are volunteers. So if we want to crack a joke after we've sat here for 2 hours, that's allowed. That's available for us. We're human beings. So please don't attack the people. If you really want to take your aggression out on someone, I have offered this before and I will offer it again. Let's go to the library, let's sit down, and let's write the letters to the state, who is the person taking your money. We are doing what we can with state obligations. They are not Amy's obligations. They are not Bill's I want more money obligations. They are the state's. So if you're angry and frustrated, let's sit down, let's write the letters, let's get Joe back here, let's get May Flexer back here. Let's have those conversations with the right people. Stop berating the Board of Finance and the Board of Education because they don't have that control. So as far as I'm concerned, we are at rock bottom, and I am not comfortable ethically taking another dime out of either side, because I believe that puts us in a situation we cannot recover from. So at the end of the day, I get it, not another dollar or whatever you want to say, but I am at a point where I don't think any more should be taken.
Okay. Floor is open.
Any chance that we could actually put some money back in?
We can do whatever
I
we
would do
want.
it. Sounds like you might help. Anybody else, or is it not?
I understand what you're saying. I really do, but I can't. I
Nate?
can't. I know, I'm just,
can we do it or not? If I can, I'd like to do it. I think it'll pass.
you know.
I wanted to just say, you know, like Nikki clearly stole the thunder there. But thank you. No, you said a lot of things I wanted to say. I have to agree in certain ways. I think we went through all of this, and this budget is just stripped beyond belief on both the town side and the education side for the school. It's like bare minimums. And there's a lot of conspiracy theorists out there. I've been seeing stuff on social media, people talking. I've seen stuff that has been pulled down, deleted, that some people have posted, saying it's the Board of Finance is threatening to do this and that. And it's not true, because it's not in their control. It's also not under the selectmen's control. Amy has done what she could. Suzanne, even Kenny over here, they've done what they could. And then we convene and make decisions over what should be and what shouldn't be. And certain things, like they said, not having paving, not having things like that, it's little things. I get the school's very important, but I don't want to be driving down the road and I'm going to be replacing tires every other day because I got a pothole because kids have to go to school and things like that. There's a balance of this and that, and it's gotten to the point where I think we have just, it's a carcass at this point. And these people that are the conspiracy theorists, the people running their mouths, all these things are the ones that are not going out and voting. They're not saying anything because they don't like something or they don't like this. There's a compromise. There's a push and pull. There's only so much we can do. There's only so much that person can do. And you have to come together at this point. It's all about the town and it's about the school. Yes, some people have said this isn't the town of Turtle Up Memorial High School. You're not, it's not. It's the town of Thompson, but the high school is here. The regular school is here. The children are here, whether they're with special needs or not, they're residents. And trying to strip things back or add things on, we need to just eventually just come together. And these people that are the ones that are complaining, I know for a fact that a lot of them did not go out and vote. So go, like, that's your voice. The vote is your voice. Make a decision. You're into it or you're not. And I want to add those things back in. I completely what you're saying in regards to it, but I just not sure if we have the means right now. And I'm afraid with the surplus and everything like that, because that's an emergency system in case we need it. So would I like to? Yes. But right now, I don't know.
I want to add back to the surplus.
Do you want to add?
I want to
back
add
surplus? That's
290
not-
back to
Okay,
the
I
surplus.
apologize. That's the impression I got, but okay.
No,
I'd like to add 50 back to the library.
he wants to add to all of them.
Well, yeah, because the library's closed now, right?
I'd like to add 50 grand to the library.
No, it's not close.
No, it's not.
It's not-
close.
I thought it was closing at 5 o'clock.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
it's
at
reduced
5.
hours.
It's reduced
Yeah,
hours.
reduced
Okay,
hours.
excuse me.
Reduced hours. It's open.
Okay,
I'll make a motion. We have 50 grand to the library.
You want to
No, I want to,
clarify that because we took 20
I'm
and
sorry, add
30.
30 to the library and 20 to the community center.
motion on the floor to add 20 to the community center and 30 to the library. Is there a second? Second.
Steve, I understand your thought process. I really do. But,
Okay, then I'll jump in. Can I jump in with a motion?
no, you
Make-
spoke for like 20 minutes.
You spoke 4 times.
Just so we're clear, the motion failed to
Motion.
advance because it wasn't a second. You can
Yeah.
motion again at any time. Just
I appreciate it. Yeah.
But Brian's moving on to something.
No, I just, we've decimated everything, and I understand, and then the town always has taken the hit. The town took it worse again. All right, I understand, it has. So I'm not going to cut them anymore. I understand the school, but you know, everything has increased, everything has increased. My God. My daughter had to go on Facebook to get her supplies, She got people all over New England giving her money so she can buy, books and crayons or whatever. She needed tables last year. She put out a thing for that and she raised $3,000 of her own money for her own tables and chairs. I mean, if she gets cut, does she take her tables and chairs with her? I mean, this is what we've come to, that we're all, and a lot of these teachers are, and not just my daughter. I mean, everyone's pitching in. I'm, like I said, I'm not gonna add anything, Steve. I understand. I really do, but I'm not gonna cut anything. I'm sorry. We have an obligation. I think the point was made. We have an obligation to everybody, everybody. And I think that, by going out at the level funding of last year, even though we have increases everywhere else, we're gonna have trouble even at the end of this coming fiscal year. We're gonna have trouble.
People talk about our jobs. Our number one job is to be the financial and, the fiscal stewards of the town. And if we fail in that, and we fail miserably, that we just cannot do that under any circumstance. All the other points are important and they're all good points. But that's job one for sure. Go ahead, Dave.
Listening to everyone's concern. My major concern is what we've done to the town side at this point. Secondarily, I'm concerned about what may have to be done on the education side. I would like to be optimistic, Nikki, as you are, probably more so than I am. But I think as we go forward, we have 90,000 in contingency. There are going to be things that happen this year because of what we've already done, that we're going to need some significant dollars,
I don't disagree with that.
whether it's the town or the school.
I don't disagree with that.
And as I said earlier, I would give a thought to your recommendation. Based on what I'm hearing, I think that is a solution this evening. And that would be to remove 350,000 from the school to place it in contingency. That would give us about 440. Is that correct, Rob?
That's correct.
To deal with an emergency, whether it's an emergency on the education side or whether it's an emergency on the town government side. And that would allow the mill rate to remain the same. But it would be an indication at least that we've done something and we've tried to protect both the town and the education system. So I would make a motion to move in that direction. To take the 350
That's a
from.
motion, or you would,
Yeah,
you
that's a
would
motion.
make a motion.
It
we're still
is a
talking.
motion.
I'm sorry, that is a motion or?
It is a motion.
Okay, motion made by Dave to move 350,000 from the school and place it into contingency, maintaining the 1929. Is there a second?
Well, wait a minute. You're saying take it out of the school budget.
Yes.
That means
And
all the
move
things
it
Melinda talked about
to the-
go away.
Move it to the contingency side.
Careful with that.
And we have 440,000 at which we can utilize throughout the year, whether it's an emergency on the town government side, or whether it's an emergency on the school side. We'd be in a position to deal with it without going into.
No,
Surplus
I
funds.
understand the concept. But I'm hearing then we're gonna have further layoffs and reductions in the school side.
I don't know.
Well,
The school, the
well, hang on. First,
Okay.
is it, sorry, it's a good discussion, but is there a second to the motion? I'm gonna second the motion. I want to have a discussion about it.
Yeah.
Were you done, Brian?
Yeah,
Okay.
for now.
If I could, wait to you in a moment. Melinda, what I heard was that the Board of Ed would have that requirement to re-rack the budget in that way.
Mhm.
Correct.
What I also heard was that it has happened before. If if special ed rises beyond a point where it's sustainable, I mean, if families move in and we get it wrong, that has to be paid.
Correct.
And at that point, you'd have to come back to the town for relief.
We try our best to control costs before that happens. We do a good job every year with that, but yes, that would be, if we run over in special ed, we're holding our breath now for
Mhm.
FY 25.
We did
I just-
last year.
I want a
Yeah,
clarity
but they
point on
started-
that.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Just real quick, 1 second, Kathleen, I get you. Nikki was in first.
Yeah, so my clarity point on that is, if you take my understanding, yes, that is the case for the special ed side. But if you take out the 350 and special ed is already budgeted at what they know special ed is to be, and at its at its lowest value, that 350 has to come out of everything but special ed.
Fire
So
teachers
your
now.
contingency is not contingency.
Anything else?
It's not contingency. It is actual people's jobs that will go away. The contingency money cannot bring them back.
We're not dictating to, and Steve, I'm sorry, you'd be next. We're not dictating, we're telling the Board of Ed how to handle that adjustment. You
what
kind
I'm-
of framed it how what they were gonna do. We don't know what they're gonna do.
No,
That's
but
up-
what I'm
that's up
saying
to
is my understanding from her legally is that if special ed, and this is what the clarity I want is, if their special ed budget is already at its minimum, and you take the 350
Said
away,
their special ed budget was-
that's the clarity I need, because that's the difference in my vote. Because if
Understood.
if the clarity is that they are at their lowest, that 350 for the budget of the Board of Ed has to come not from special ed, so it's not contingency money that they are coming back for.
Reduced from general.
It
I
is,
got you. Dave, 1 second.
they are-
Steve's been trying to.
They already took $200,000 out of pupil services, not knowing exactly what it is. May have worked on it since then, but it was a while ago. I'm sorry, 400,000. So that isn't, they haven't figured out actually how it's going to be cut. They've just charged Dr. Jones, cut $400,000 out of pupil services.
He did it.
And you found some ways to do it.
Fantastic.
So-
If we cut 350 additional out of the school budget, they have to plan their coming year as if they don't get it. That means they fire teachers, reduce services, and hurt the education of our children. Now, it's not like, oh, we discovered we need to pay the teachers in June next year and we need the money. It doesn't work that way. They have to budget and plan and manage and staff for the reduced budget.
Yeah, but now we're saying that, Steve, but in the reality, we hear that, well, if three people move into town, we didn't know that was gonna happen.
Mhm. Yeah.
So you
But that
can't
happened
say it's
after
a
the fact.
perfect world when it's not a perfect.
I understand, but that's after the fact. They set the budget and can have the
understand that.
resources to do that.
After the fact,
And-
is already after the fact, we're in July.
No, but in those cases where, well, we
understand.
plan the budget, we have the teachers for their general ed. They can plan the full year out. If a surprise happens, that's after the fact. They don't have to let the second grade teachers go, the fourth grade
Understood.
teachers go.
Understood. Dave, you wanna get it?
With regard to special ed. Special ed is required, Nikki. But it's also a function that is in a state of flux.
Yep.
As Melinda and Bill found out in June or late May. All of a sudden, we have 5 children, some of which needed serious servicing. You may find out come November, they move out of town because they're not satisfied with the services.
Or 5
You-
more move in.
Or 5 more move in.
Yep.
It's always a state of flux. It's always a guessing game with regard to special ed. Been there, done that. And that's why I say we establish a minimum. The Board of Ed has to establish a budget within the allotted funds. If those situations develop, then we have to deal, by law, we gotta deal with it.
Let's see.
And, you know, our gracious state legislature try to make us believe that they were gonna give us more for special ed. And then they raised the minimum. Yeah. So in essence, they were giving us next to nothing or less. But they're playing the switch the card game in Hartford. And we are the people that have to deal with it. Our children are the people who have to deal with it. if we go back with the same budget, I don't have the feeling that you have, Nikki, that it can pass. I'm sorry, I don't have that feeling yet. I think with Rob's suggestion, there's a chance, and I'm not very positive about that. I just want to repeat, $350,000 is a real hurt. It's not the same as an after the fact, whoops, we need this extra. The school will have to actually proactively reduce the resources applied to general ed if their budget is cut. It's not as if later they discover, oh, I really did need that second grade teacher. They can't do that. They have to cut the second grade teacher now.
They just reduced their special ed by $400,000. So you told me they can't do it, they just reduced it by $400,000.
But if we cut their budget $350 more.
Yeah.
They can't just say, we'll just go on and when we need the $350, we'll ask for it. They can't do that. They have to prepare
So
their
you're
budget
saying
at
that's
$350 lower.
So you're saying it's a perfect science and it's gonna track, right?
No,
No,
of course not.
no,
That's what it sounds
I
like.
think what we're trying to say is there, from my understanding from going to the Board of Ed meetings and listening at the budget workshop, my understanding is, and Bill, you too can correct me if I'm wrong, there is a bottom threshold that the Board of Ed is responsible for when it comes to the current known special ed dollars required to be spent. They cannot take the special ed budget under that number because then the Board of Education members themselves are financially responsible
That's right.
for that dollar amount. That was the letter that was sent to us last year when they changed. In that letter was also the information on when they changed their ability to keep more money. It was all encompassing in that notification. My understanding is that the Board of Education budget for special ed is at that line. They cannot reduce that anymore. Anything that we take from them has to be reduced from everything but special ed. So what you're saying is it is not contingency because what they're coming back for is absolutely going to be things that happened. But what was in the letter that she sent us is going to have to happen anyway because that 350 is missing. That is a very different scenario than we tell them they are down 350, they get to take it out of special ed, and then they can come back and ask for it to pay special ed. That is the specific clarity of A versus B that I am trying to
You know,
understand.
so we know sitting here on July 17th, exactly what our special ed population is gonna be when the school doors open.
I don't think anybody's saying that.
I'm asking the question. No,
Well,
hang on,
no,
hang on,
it's
hang on.
what's known.
Look, everybody else asked their
I'm
question.
answering it. Yeah.
Let me-
It's
no,
what's
you did.
known.
You said, I don't think I'm asking, we're saying that. I'm
It's-
asking,
it's
do they
known-
know today, on July 17th, when we open the school doors, they know exactly what that enrollment's gonna be.
No, but I think the law that I'm talking about, it's stated that it is I think it's at the close of the school year. What is known for when you have your registrations and it is known and you are doing that budget,
Why don't we ask?
you have to
Kathleen and
be,
Melinda,
that's
what they know
exactly-
today and what's
I
gonna be.
want
like
to make
in
sure I'm
July.
making the right choice here.
Okay.
This is very,
Respect that,
yeah.
respect that. Nikki.
So the trend is right now that many of the students, new students that are enrolling are coming with IEPs. Yeah, I was throwing a figure the other day at 80% of the enrollment have special education services required, new students. I don't know at this point in time, things are too early now in the enrollment process to tell you how many people moved out. But I have not heard that any of our high ticket special ed services for students, specifically for out of district kids.
Yep.
Which are 25 as of today, have reduced in any way, or any of those children have moved to another community. So we still have that obligation. But taking that $400,000 out of special education is requiring my special ed director now to negotiate with some families that he's identified to bring those children back into the district. The parents can say no and take a legal option. So we are really rolling the dice right now on that 400,000 as it is. So Nikki, you're right. The 350 that will come out to put in contingency and the idea of having a safety net has always been a good one, but that's gonna come out of the BOE budget that doesn't include special ed, because we already know what those costs are. And so what's next? I've given the board many scenarios. Maybe we can do this, maybe we can cut this position. None of it is good. The board has been reluctant to talk about sports, music, those things, because those are the very things that get kids to come to school. So we haven't even looked at those programming, but I will tell you what's on the chopping block now are bus routes, are combined bus stops, other positions, custodian, cafeteria workers, are the very people that live in town.
Well, you made a comment that you have 25, but you don't know if those families are still here. They might have moved.
They're
out.
all here. I checked residency on every single one of them.
So we know.
So I know.
It
that
sounds
they
like you're
live here.
being asked, these are my words, not anyone else's. It sounds like you're being asked. Come up with what it's gonna be like in a month and a half from now, but you don't know for sure what it's gonna be. It's an imperfect science.
It truly is an imperfect science, but if you look at year-to-year trend, right? That number, that 24 number of out of district placement kids has been holding true. Of course, we went up to 27.
Use that
last
data
year.
to make the best educated guess. But at the end of the day, the one thing that's certain is you're not gonna, it's not perfect and you're gonna get it wrong.
And last year, we were just very lucky, right? Some students did move out, and that's how we had the Board of Ed had the money to turn back to the town. It was a luck of the draw. That is the first time, and I'm in my 9th year now. That's the first time that ever happened.
Right.
The trend is going the other way, and if the secretaries are giving me good information, the people who are enrolling, those students need extra support. So it's,
Well,
you are right, it's not an exact
No,
science.
and
I think in the last 7 years,
I-
only 1 year has it not gone up. It's always, I mean, the number of students requiring special education.
Yeah, I opened with, the hit on the town, the hurt on the town, no, we're not going after surplus, and I said specifically, if we move out of the school, it's gonna hurt general ed, and that's not right. I said that right out of the opening, so the idea and the concept of a safety net was to do our best, not ingenuous, but do our best to try to bridge the gap, but at the end of the day, if it doesn't, we have the safety net to go back. Same with the town. The town might, there's things that can come up in the town that you don't know. That's why you have budgets for things like that, and we don't have them, so we put it in contingency, but if putting in contingency is going to further hurt the general ed students, I don't feel good about it.
Well, that's
That's
gonna
what it's gonna
happen.
do.
That is what's gonna, that's to add to me what's gonna happen. What's Brian's idea of raising, putting $200,000 in revenue?
We can't do that.
Why?
It's a board of
It's not- it's
selectmen.
the Board of Selectmen's. We can suggest it and talk about it. They have to take action on
Do it.
Get
right on that, Kathleen.
Well, quite frankly, it is quite that simple.
Yeah.
It goes out in October. All right, that's too far into our budget. And if they were to move on that, it would be 200 and even if it's more, it's 250 or 300, they're still getting a break. I would rather do that than cut out of the general ed budget. At least that's more revenue coming in.
Yep.
I understand what everybody's saying, but all right, we take the 300,000, we put in contingency. All right, automatically general ed's gonna get cut. And then we don't know what's gonna happen. Our trend is over, the last 9 years, 1 year we went low, we've gone high. Now special ed goes up and we've cut general ed and we're gonna have to pay more for special ed. It's a catch-22 thing.
it. Get it twice.
Yeah, we're gonna get killed twice. So, I'd rather jack up and get $200,000 on the transfer station. It's still a good deal, all right? And use that towards what will come out use it towards this year's budget, and then go from there. I mean, I understand it all, and believe me, I do. But, you talk about potholes, and so forth. We don't have any money for it. And if I hear about how we're gonna bring in businesses, we have no land to bring in businesses. Where are they gonna go? Let's be honest, we're a bedroom community. We forced ourselves into it, and now it's catching up with us.
So
You know?
we I'm gonna go right to you, Dave. We just want to remind everybody, we have a motion and a second on the
Yeah.
table. We're discussing the topic of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
It's related to that backdoor through what Brian said. We control the expenditure part of the budget. The revenue part of the budget is the best guess we can make. We can't raise the fees. That's not our prerogative for the landfill. But we could put the pressure on the Board of Selectmen by increasing the revenue by 200,000.
Yep, that's true.
I agree, 100%.
I'd rather do that after they.
That's a sidebar. I mean,
Rather-
there's still a motion
But
on the floor.
The motion, but it's all related to the
It
motion.
is, it is.
How are
It's
we
related.
gonna address the 350 that he wants to take out? Well, now, now it's not 350, it's 150, all right? And quite frankly, the tax district for the firemen, that's $400,000 there. I'm not saying it's gonna happen right away, it's not gonna happen, but you know what? Down the road, they need to address this problem. Because we can't keep going up and up for them. I love them all and I'll get chastised, I know, because I said it. But you know what? If they're just sitting on the paperwork, shame on them.
But there's a way to drive that to conclusion, which is next fiscal year, it'll be a lump sum. to the
That's
fire
right.
district. And you put that out and you give them 11 months notice. So that when we hear next year, it's already done. It won't be
Right.
11 months because it'll start in
Right.
February, but still 9 months. So,
Or they could be cut this year,
yeah,
all right, some amount of money to help offset the 150.
so I'm gonna rescind my second. I'm not gonna vote for it, so I shouldn't be the second on.
Well, we have a motion, you're gonna,
He's
I'm
rescinding.
rescinding my
Okay.
second.
So
And the
someone
reason,
else
and the
needs to
reason I'm
second.
rescinding my second is I was trying to come up with a way to provide, you know,
No,
keep
I
keep
know
us
what
at the.
you- I know what
everybody
you're
knows,
saying,
everybody
yeah,
knows. So
yeah.
I don't feel good about that if it's going to, in the
well, if we're gonna
end,
do that, I'm gonna make a motion that we raise.
Hold on, hold
You
on,
can
hold on,
amend
hold on.
my motion.
What?
What happens, just point of order. because I'm
rescind it.
confused. So
I
you
rescinded till we need a
rescinded,
second.
but does that mean that someone else has the option to second it before we
Correct.
talk about something else?
Correct.
Or is it just dead?
No.
No,
Someone else
someone can
should have
second it.
seconded.
Okay,
So I just rescinded my second.
so I just want to make sure to stay.
Do you want to second it?
Oh, no. I just want, I'm just trying to understand order.
Anybody
I'm just
else?
trying to understand order. I'm sorry.
Is anybody
Still
else?
learning.
No,
So there's a motion on the floor. Is there a second? A new second, no second. Okay, Brian, back to you.
so,
I'm out of
I-
bullets. I mean, I don't know what else.
That's a good idea. I
Yes, I
think it'd be destructive.
Trying to help everybody
I
get to.
think,
Agree, good thinking.
I don't want the transfer station to be closed on Fridays and Saturdays. I mean, that it is hurting the community. And I think through all of it's happened, because it closed on a Friday and Saturday, it's awakened a zillion people of what's going on in our community now. Now, I think it's not, I want to use the right word, to raising the fees to adjust so that the transfer station is more balanced, I think is something that the selectmen are considering and should act on. So as Dave said, I'm in favor of raising the revenues by 200,000.
Yep.
All right, and hopefully those revenues will come in with increase in the fees.
I could get my head around that, Brian. What I'm having a hard time doing is doing that ahead of the selectmen meeting, just on principle. Like, it's like saying, hey, you got no choice, go do it. And
Well,
that doesn't feel good.
Then
to me.
again, it's just like the special ed route. We don't know.
understand.
Maybe we could
I-
get somebody to pay some extra taxes. We get 200 more in.
I get so.
You know what I'm saying?
I
I
get
mean,
it.
somebody who owes back taxes might come.
I get it. It's
I mean,
more of a process,
yeah.
for me, like to tell
You
them,
know,
hey,
it's like a house
it's
is
your
button,
choice, but we made
you
a
pay no
decision.
tax. All of a sudden, the bank took it over and I got a check for 43,000. Thank you very much. But I'm just saying.
No.
Nikki, please.
So, not to make you do math right now, I'm sorry. So maybe you know already my question on, now that you've talked about the fire and I'm thinking about it. They're even with last year?
Above last year.
They're above last
By
year.
$4,000. It was $78,000 last
Okay.
year, they're $82,000 per fire station this year.
So they're above, everybody else went down.
No,
Well, the school went down and the town holistically went down.
And the
Well, not
library.
everybody, you said everybody else, I mean, the building,
Okay.
the building department went up.
Went up,
and
right,
they're
okay.
Crazy busy and they're bringing in more
Okay.
revenue, so.
But they're bringing in
Just-
revenue.
Just clarify, not every.
See that? There's that 200,000.
So I guess, right, I guess I'm just thinking, right, I would say I don't use them until I have to, right?
Yeah.
The fire department, I don't use them until I have to. I don't know when that's gonna happen. But at the
And then
same,
we'll budget for that.
but my, I guess my question is, like, if we have to go, I don't want to touch anything, right, at all.
you
I
want
just
to add
wanted,
stuff.
no, well, I do, I would like to add stuff back in, but I also understand that adding stuff back in right now is detrimental to some people and to others when they get their bills in hand and realize the reality, may be completely shocked at the reality, right? That it is so far down from what their assessments were, their assumptions were, whatever. So I guess I am at a point, I'm tired, but I would like to make a motion.
I already got one on the floor.
What did you do?
I,
No,
a motion.
That was a motion?
I thought I did.
No,
No,
no one seconded it,
no
and I didn't
second.
hear it as a motion. I'm sorry, I will let you do that then before I do
I
mine.
withdraw whatever I said.
I didn't hear a
Go ahead,
motion,
Nikki.
Brian, sorry, I didn't hear a motion. There
Okay,
was some
that's all right.
commentary. Nikki,
I'd
go.
like the transcript read back to me, please. Thank you.
I guess I am just,
RJ, thank you, yeah.
it might be just to gauge too, but like,
Go
I
ahead.
am at a
Go ahead.
point where I don't wanna touch anything else. I don't see another bullet, Rob. I do, however, see more people engaged and more people understanding the reality of the situation. So I would like to make a motion to send back the 19.29 to the town as it stands.
Second.
Motion on the floor, is there a second? I can't support that. I'm sorry, Nikki. That's like saying there's a vote, we made no change at all and didn't hear anything and just.
What is the?
But we heard a bunch
what
of
is
stuff
the
we haven't heard before.
Anything
What's that,
that
Brian?
moves the needle at all, the 200,000?
We have a motion on
Yeah, I
the
know,
floor.
I'm
We will
discussing.
deal with
Stick with
that.
it.
That's his, well, that's his. I
When
think
we
that's part of
finish
his
with Nikki.
discussion.
Part of my
Motion is to send the budget back out at the 1929. There's a more formal motion than that.
Yes,
but I understand.
yeah, and it was seconded, so. But Brian's discussion is he wants to understand is 200 as part of his choice.
Discussion, so I'm gonna vote, although I would vote, I'm in favor of it, but I'm gonna vote no on this because I wanna know on the 200,000 first.
Okay. All right, any
You
other
know,
discussion?
so if you have a motion, make, vote on it.
Well, any other discussion before we vote on it?
No.
Any other discussion? Nate, how do you vote?
For the
Nikki.
19.
Yeah,
That-
to send it back
budget
out as it
exactly like
stands
I,
now.
I would be curious too about the 200,000 too, so I think I'm gonna say no.
You're gonna say no,
Yes,
No,
No,
Yes.
and I'll vote no, so it fails
Okay.
2 to 4.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Lynch.
may I ask the finance director of the town of Thompson what effect the extra 200,000 would?
And he's already,
Oh,
So it brings it to 19.12.
correct. Now, my question, Brian, would be, what would the Board of Selectmen have to raise the fee to generate that? And I think Bill might be able to help us with that.
There's 1,900 permits approximately across all.
But he has a charge.
what about?
No,
going-
110
What
bucks.
about going to 150 and then it's less than 100, it'd be like $80, $70, $80.
200,000. You wanna go for
I mean, just go for 150, so you're not,
We
yeah.
should let him. Well, it's gonna charge.
but you have other options, that's not the only
Okay.
It's gonna be
option.
110 bucks.
If he can find it.
Well, he's doing
No,
that, there's no motion on the
right?
floor, right?
Annually?
No,
There
it
is
was
not.
just a
Motion.
question.
So well. I'll wait.
That was
I have,
just a
I have a
question.
question for from Melinda and Kathleen. But I'll wait because it's a different topic. Bill, do you want 5 and we move to a different part of the conversation and come back to you?
Yes.
Okay,
You know,
is that okay, guys? We'll
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
fine.
come
that's
back to
not
that.
gonna.
Why don't-
it's not
can you
fair.
multitask? Okay.
The school has money in the lapsing account. If that were used to pull down the 487, not totally take it away, but pull it down. Can the school work with that without impacting the general education students any more than where we were right now.
Just about, right, Bill? Non-lapsing, 200.
Sorry.
That this isn't gonna pass unless you hit the school for something, because they're out for blood.
Yep.
But we cannot absorb any more than that into what's in our, and that brings our lap to zero. To zero.
So what if we did something like 150 out of the lapsing account and 150 on the revenue side? And that would be 300. Is that a compromise?
Could you say that again? I'm sorry. That was a lot of
Well,
numbers.
it does if we pull your 487 down to by 150 to 337.
Or cut the budget.
You cut the budget, you'd have to offset.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna touch, yeah. It's an offset.
Yes.
Did everybody follow that?
No, I did not. I'm sorry.
Maybe a lapsing account of about 200,000, rather than take it all
Correct.
the way to zero, take about 150 out of the 487
Okay.
in the school, which they will offset with the lapsing account. And increase the revenue by 150. That would be about a 300,000 impact. Probably take us close to 19. It'd be about 0.27.
So if it was 200, and
27
it was
mils.
350 total, would that get us to 19?
300.
Yes, I think it would.
Oh, if it was.
Yes,
We still short?
330 would get us to 19. I think 350 will get us just under 19. I think, pretty sure.
Brian, how much you wanna pay?
I'm figuring 300, 250.
No, I would try it at 200, see.
See, what does 200 bring us to?
There are,
It's all different.
there are about 10 different types of stickers. Everybody thinks there's one sticker.
Bottom line for me, bottom line.
Raise them
You
all-
gotta adjust each one if
Yeah.
you wanna run it.
Raise
through.
them
So
all
that's why I'm over
Bill,
here.
raise them all the same amount, same number of dollars.
Okay.
That fair? They all go up the same number of dollars as opposed to percent.
I gotta be careful what I say because people must listen to what I say and then it comes back and bites me. Yeah, you know, earlier I was chastised.
You mean your wife?
No, that wasn't my wife. I was chastised by my public comments, so.
I have a random question because I don't use.
Yeah, go ahead.
I
Nikki.
don't
Nikki has
use
a
the
question.
transfer, I don't use the transfer station very often. Are there more things? Well, I don't, my family does. I clearly don't. Are there other things that we could,
There's half year, there's half year.
we could like, do we encompass all? Cause I know that some people were talking a couple meetings ago that they go to other, they get like 1-day passes at other towns because we don't take in certain things. Is there other things that we could take in that you could raise like an additional charge on? Is that something that's?
It's toxic, it's gonna be costly for us to get rid of it.
Yeah, no, I was more like just,
I think it's appliances.
okay.
So.
Could be appliance.
I think it's appliances.
Cause I guess my point is if
That's the thing.
people are really harping on the dollar amount of raising it, is there other other ways to generate revenue at the station? No, I'm just, I'm.
I hear
really
you, I hear you,
curious.
but if we get down that rabbit hole, we're talking about $20.
I'm sorry, cause he'll get mad at me. Can I talk to you after the meeting?
Way near.
Can I talk to you after the meeting? I don't want Rob to get mad at me.
Still need like $400.
No, I understand that, but it's not,
350.
it's not anything that we can
It's
control.
about 50.
It would
bucks
be
a month
them, so.
For a regular,
That's
that's 600, that's
5
600.
days a week, or 4 days a week.
There's some in there, the problem.
Yeah, we're gonna pause for a minute.
Very,
I might actually make a motion.
Regulations,
Pause.
but it's something that
That's a
we
good
will-
one.
I'm gonna motion that we pause the meeting.
Cannot use.
That's fine.
Take a recess.
Yeah.
All in favor?
I.
Aye.
In recess. Nikki, motion
Second.
open.
Oh, wait a
Eight
minute.
seconds.
That's my-
All in favor of opening the meeting back up, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, we're back in to our regular scheduled session. Bill, you have an update on that for us?
Yes, so we took a quick pass through the, on the screen, just a moment. So the yellow highlighted cells are our price structure for dump passes right now. These are all the different flavors of a dump pass. We did a quick increase across the board. For example, just using annual regular, for example, we went from 135 to 235. As we roll that through, This number right here, the 222, is what's currently in the budget for transfer station revenue. If these increases were put in, that would bring it up to $420,050. That's $197,975 increase.
Thank you, Bill. Any questions for Bill on that fine analysis?
Yes.
Please.
We currently have two individuals serving at the transfer station. Is their cost figured into the expenditure side?
The salaries are, the benefits are not.
Thank you.
The
And
benefits
are they figured in on a basis of a 4-day week or a 5-day week?
Whatever was current before the furlough.
4-day week.
They work 4 days at the transfer station.
Do they work 5 days?
Now,
though?
is the number I see in the budget based on 4 days or based
No,
on
I think
5
it's
days?
Based on 5 days.
So the transfer station is paying for 2 days' work in the
1 day.
I would have to check that, but I.
2 man days, but 1 day, right?
Right.
Offset by
One-
fringes, so.
1 day, yeah, 2 man day.
Yeah, the cost, and the cost of the transfer station with that extra man day in is 454,000
Right, compared to two
compared to,
twenty-two.
compared to the
But-
420, right?
But that's, yes, but you also have other revenues that come in, although they are shrinking, and tipping fees.
Tipping fees that come in.
They're not all that significant, unfortunately.
Right, right.
But if you added that to the 420, you took this 1 day of overpay away, it's pretty close to
I
at
think,
these new
yeah.
numbers, it's pretty close to
Pretty close,
to a self-funding
right.
proposition. Okay. And that's an odd number, 197,975.
Well, I would prefer to go with a number about, I would say 180,000. In terms of revenue, they can leave that there in terms of cost, but in terms of revenue, I think you're gonna see a decrease in revenue from the estimated.
Oh, you think a fewer people will sign up?
Yeah.
It might deter people.
I think some people will just back off and say, I can't do it.
So Dave, you're saying go with the 180 and the 17,000 offset would be just less passes. There'd be less permits.
I'm just
What are you saying?
thinking of that in terms of revenue. The revenue is a flexible figure that we put in.
So if we put in 180, you're hedging by 17,000.
Yeah.
If less permits are
Yeah.
sold, we're still giving.
And it may
If
be
we
more
land at
than that.
182, then we're okay.
It may be more than that, but I'm leaving a cushion there.
So if that's 330, right? Out of the over
180,
plus the 150 from the school, sorry.
it's 150, 50 and 180 would be 330.
Bill, what's 330 out of? Yeah. What does that bring us to?
330.
Well,
150 and 180.
I took 150 from the
180
school.
for the
Oh.
increase on that.
Yeah, okay.
I'm sorry, did you want to?
If you took out this 330,000, please.
19 even.
Where are
19.
And if it was 350?
No,
No.
that's not.
I'm just asking, I'm curious.
Where are we? I'm not seeing them. Hold on. Oh, no, I see.
1897.
Yeah, it's not big enough. Okay, I just think you,
1998.
go back to 330. Thank you, Bill.
Amy, can I ask you about the passes?
Yes. Can you ask me about the passes?
Yeah.
What about them? It was going to be on the agenda in August. That's the time that we typically start discussing it. Make a final decision before we have to start printing pamphlets, et cetera.
Okay. Suzanne here,
I'm here.
what's your viewpoint of the passes going up, something like that?
I can't see that.
Not up there now.
I'll be back to you in a minute. Ken, what's your point of view?
I think because of cost and everything, fair market for what the usage is. It should go up. We have not raised it in the last couple of years for whatever the reason may be, but it's long overdue. And it's still great bargain because you're getting rid of brush, you're getting rid of leaves, you're getting.
Tires, electronics.
Even though you charge for it, you still have a place to go.
Yes.
You've got a separate trash hauling.
That's right.
You get the basics, and when they want to take bulky waste, it's at their discretion, not yours.
Mhm.
Right.
So there's an awful lot of advantage, and it is a hell of a bargain.
It's fine.
And we haven't done our due diligence in raising these fees.
Thank you.
Just
And
Dave,
point,
comment.
yep,
One
a
second, I'll go
point,
back to you, Dave.
Ken, if you look at town of Woodstock, I believe they're somewhat over 250 for,
And I think they're open 2 days.
I understand that.
No, I'm just saying.
I understand that, but looking at the cost. And you look at Putnam, the people in Putnam have no place to bring their chairs or tables or sofas or what have you, except once a year. And they're paying through the nose with the new system in Putnam.
Yep. Yep. They
So
are
I think what we're suggesting here
Still under market.
is fair.
Still under market.
It's
Yeah,
still under,
market.
even the local
Yeah,
market.
yeah, excuse me. Back
As,
to
as
Suzanne.
a selectman, I will comment and say that it is our decision to make, and it is something that we will need to definitely go through. All right, hold on.
Thanks for reinforcing.
Because I think I was outside. And I think it is time for us to put it on the agenda again. It is a bargain. I have also kind of done some research and looked around at other companies, and you're gonna pay, $100 a month. 1,200 a year, or,
I've
800 to
heard from some
1,200.
people 50 a month, so.
I've seen 80, I've seen higher,
Yeah.
but that's only for trash.
Yes.
Household trash. That doesn't
That's what
include
I'm
anything
saying.
else. So it is a bargain at what we've been able to accommodate our taxpayers for, but I think that it's time that we increase them. And I would be in favor of doing that, and I just think we need to look a little more closer.
Okay, thank you to all
And-
three selectmen,
And
appreciate
that's all I
that.
have.
Nikki, over to you. Thank you.
I'm good. So can I make a motion?
You're a member of this board, you can do pretty much
Okay.
any motion you'd like. I
So
can't say
I would
second.
like, that's fine.
Gotta allow it nonsense.
I would like, I would like to do them together. So I would like to add, is it adding the 180K revenue?
Revenue.
To revenue, right? And reduce the school by 150,000.
Motion is to add 180,000 in revenue. And reduce the school by 150,000, made by Nikki.
Permits.
Is there a second to that?
Second.
Brian has a second. Okay, any discussion on the topic?
I would just like to say, I think it's reasonable. I think we know what it gets us down to. I think going back, right, I asked before for the original, just to kind of stop gauge and stuff, but I think this is reasonable. I don't think it puts the school too bad. Obviously, I don't want to take anything from them, but I also agree we have to do something. So this, I think, is almost the same amount, Rob, as what you came in with, but just in a different avenue. Okay.
But it's almost,
Mhm.
okay. Thank you, Nikki. Any other discussion?
These numbers are in regards to what we just talked about, the transfer station adjustments.
And 150 out of.
And the
So I'm
school.
taking 150 from the school,
School.
Combine
and
it
then
in one motion.
I'm asking the Board of Selectmen to go find 180,000 somehow and put it in revenue.
Well, you're not saying transfer station then?
Oh,
It's gotta be revenue.
Their choice.
It's in my opinion, if they have other things up their sleeve that they were gonna put on an agenda, I don't know. I don't know that I wanna tell them what to go do, so I did not specify in the motion.
Fair enough.
If someone wants to make that addendum, by all means, go ahead.
I think we pretty much mapped out what they're likely gonna do and they
I-
opined on it. But
I'd
if they
like to
do
be more
find, if
specific.
they wanna,
oh,
I'm okay with it being less. I mean, what's the danger of it being not specific, dude?
You gotta put it in the budget someplace. That budget's gonna be printed. Where's the revenue gonna be?
Other income. You put another income line in there?
There is a miscellaneous revenue line.
Ken has that.
Line 21.
Hang tight. Ken has a point. Yes, Ken.
We do have revenues. We also have a fee chart
Mhm.
that we're supposed to review once a year for various fees throughout the town on building, different types of stuff.
Building inspection, things like, say,
Right, and
fire
wherever
inspection.
that comes in under, Bill would know, but there's also that avenue, so, it's all grouped together.
Okay, thank you.
I will go along as we put it in miscellaneous income.
Okay.
revenue.
That's specificity enough.
Yeah, that's specific. Yeah.
Do I need to make that?
That's not the motion.
Um,
I feel more comfortable.
It's not the specific motion.
Motion
Would
is
you-
180 in.
I understand.
Yeah,
I
so,
understand.
so,
Dave's talking about a change to it, so if he wants to amend the motion, he can make a
Right.
motion to amend the motion.
Would you accept the motion as I suggested?
yes, I would.
I don't need to amend it then.
Okay. Who
Who
seconded
seconded
it?
it?
Brian, did
All
you,
right.
would you accept it if it goes into miscellaneous income? I'm gonna
Yes.
turn into a pumpkin. That's okay.
He hates to agree. with
Okay.
me.
Any additional discussion?
My wife said to say yes.
I saw her. Any additional discussion on the motion on the floor? Okay, the only thing I'm gonna say before we vote is we go to referendum 4 like this. I think people need to know, we go back to the town again. We're talking about a reduction in services. That's not like threats, or that's not like, oh, Rob's trying to create, no, the reality is. We're not getting it out of office supplies. We're going back for another few $100,000. Some offices are gonna be open less days a week, and I want to be really, really clear with the public on that too, like there aren't places to go here. If we go back to the school, there's 300,000 there, so. I think when this goes out, people really need to think about it when they get their ballot, because. I'll call it referendum 5, I hope we don't have one, but it's gonna be. It's gonna be very, very difficult. To change our town. Any other discussion? Okay, I'll go the reverse order this time. Steve, how do you vote? Dave, how do you vote?
Yes.
Brian, how do you vote?
Yes.
Nikki?
Yes.
Nate?
Yes.
And Rob Ward, I'll vote yes, so it passes 6-0.
Ooh,
That's
school.
almost unheard of in the final, one of the final conclusions, so. Nice job.
So are
I'm
we,
tired, I don't wanna fight.
So.
We're at 19
we're not-
minutes.
19 minutes, so are we,
Well, you gotta make the motion to send it out with
Yeah,
all
yeah,
those numbers and
that's what we're
everything.
gonna
That's your job.
Hold on.
That's my, I don't have my cheat sheets
You
again.
don't have to, anybody else can make any motion, any other
Yeah.
ideas, if you wanna be directive here.
Nikki's job.
It's Nikki's job.
Any
Nikki,
other discussion about the budget overall? Points of view. Nikki, do you have anything to say?
I have a motion to make, Rob, but I need Bill to go back to my sheet.
Hold on a second, want everything in the right spot.
Thank you.
The school was 150,000.
Correct.
Correct.
We should be at 19 even. There you go.
Okay. So I need capital, I need
Tax warrant,
tax warrant,
which is 21,402.
Yeah, the tax warrant line is the line you need.
And the overall.
so I will make a motion to send the fiscal year, or is it 26 budget to the Board of Selectmen containing the
Tax warrant.
the tax warrant of 21,402,664 with a capital of 278,445 at a mill rate of 19.00.
Is there a second?
second,
Brian has a second. Any discussion? Nate, how do you vote?
For this, yes.
Yes.
Nikki, Brian,
yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
I'll vote yes. 60.
We still have a whole agenda to go through, so be careful.
Okay,
Yes, you do.
I would need the rest of these.
You have to. It's
we're good on item 6, we're moving to item 7. Could I
Yeah.
please ask for an abbreviated version? Given the time of night.
Yes.
For the
Oh, selectman Tom.
Looking for an abbreviated.
You're really gonna ask
abbreviate-
It's been a while, it's been a while.
Um,
Thank you, Amy, that
We're
was very
working on
nice.
checking our revenue. Excellent.
Abbreviated, Joe Tasek, here, Public Works is doing a phenomenal job, just keeping everything moving, keeping the transfer station open on the limited schedule. We did have a major issue that cropped up with a sinkhole on one of our sidewalk systems. So be watching, there'll be some construction going on in Route 12, probably within a month or so. But it's something we urgently have to take care of. So yeah, aside from that, there's not a lot going on because there's no money.
Thanks, Amy. Any questions for Amy?
No.
Excellent abbreviated update. Melinda?
Make it shorter, Melinda.
Special ed summer school is in session and the HVAC project is currently on time and moving along nicely.
Thank you, Melinda. Any questions for Melinda? Bill?
Property tax collections at 99.9% of the budget, strong showing on prior year collections, interest and liens at the end of the year. State and federal, nothing new to report there. Local revenue, not much change. Investment income continues to be strong. We have several departments that are in the red at the moment. Snow removal, town council, we've all talked about before. The new one this time is community center. Is about 14,000 over in electricity, and I believe, I'm still investigating this, but I believe it's due to electric heater use when the oil tank was being swapped out in the middle of the winter. So we took a hit there. All in all, the budgets, we're looking okay on the town side, in terms of coming in the black. Numbers are still preliminary, so I won't quote a number. On the school side, we're in a battle there to hopefully come in on the black, but it's too close to call at the moment. But we are working very diligently on it.
Thank you, Bill.
Yep.
Any questions for Bill? Turtle Lot Fund update, I'll do that. It'll take 2 seconds. The long-held Bank of America funds, I don't remember the exact amount, it was over $100,000 that we could not access for many years. Those have been released. And we have them, so that's pretty cool.
Wonderful.
Maybe next month we'll do a more wholesome update on the Turtle Lot Fund.
The
But
sale account is just under $3 million.
Yeah, like 299 something. Okay,
Wait,
excellent.
is that the trust they said?
That's the trust.
That's a trust.
Those monies that we couldn't get to for a long time. It was very complicated.
Yeah,
to find out.
yeah.
They got 'em.
That
New
goes
business,
back
any
to
new
my
business?
time.
What's that?
I said it goes back to my time.
Oh, yeah,
That's right.
years.
I remember when the 2 million came in, remember originally?
Yeah.
New business? Hearing none, we'll move on to old business. Hearing none, we'll move on to citizens' comments. I don't want to deprive any citizens, but it is late, so just ask everybody to be as crisp as they can. Anyone in the room? Any citizen?
With Winnie Radio. Okay, I just wanted to know if maybe like just get a recap of what actually.
That'd be awesome.
All right.
Thanks.
I just want to say thank you for your time this evening. I know it was hot and it was, temperature wise, but also some peppers, but I think I'm really grateful that you put in your time.
That was Donna Lynch.
Donna Lynch.
Sorry, Donna. Okay.
What's your address, Brian?
Thank you, Don.
I'm not sure, but I know there's a pool there.
Taking $150,000 from their rainy day fund,
Not a rainy
No.
day fund. Go ahead.
whatever fund it is, it's excess money they have. Am I right?
No,
No,
it's not a question of answers.
I'm trying to figure out, they're taking $150,000, but you're lowering their budget by $150,000, am I right?
That's correct.
Okay, but they're still staying at the amount that they were because they had this.
No,
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 no.
I'm not sure because you're taking $150,000 from some kind of fund that they have. You're
No.
taking $150,000 from them. You're replacing it with that $150,000. Am I correct?
no. I'll come and see you immediately after the meeting. I'll explain exactly what we're doing, so it's clear. Okay. Anyone else in the room? Any other citizen in the room? Okay, online. Mr. George O'Neill, please go.
Yeah, George O'Neill, 122 Fabian Road, North Grosvenor. Thank you. I'd like to speak briefly about something I've heard, I listened to during this presentation. I find it troubling. And that's the idea that citizens, for some reason, need to provide specific solutions to this board for the budget process to move forward. I heard that a couple of times that alluded in the last, 3 or 4 hours. With respect, and it's not how that's not how representative government works. It's the job of the elected and appointed officials, not the Board of Finance and the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Education to develop the budget. It's your job. The citizen's role is to review it, provide feedback and vote. That's exactly what they've done. 3 times. If members of this commission are conflicted about their responsibilities or unsure whether their obligation is to the taxpayers, the system, or some ethical guide, then perhaps it's time now to step aside for them and allow someone who clearly understands that role to take that position. Citizens have been clear. The last budget was defeated nearly 2-1. That's meaningful feedback. You have it from the citizens of this town. The real question is now, for you now, is what is the board going to do with it? Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Matt Brower, please go. You have the floor. Matt, you're on mute. Matt, we'll come back to you. You're on mute. Sally's next. Sally, please go.
Thank you. Continuing with what Mr. O'Neill said, I was also quite struck when I heard several of the Board of Finance people allude to their confliction on their roles, and they came down to thinking that they needed to do what was right in their eyes. And so by extension, that would suggest that you are dismissing the vote of the people, and it's essentially becoming literally a form of tyranny, because if you are dismissing the vote of the people, you actually, by extension, could find cost savings by eliminating the registrars if you don't want them to vote, if you're not going to listen to them. And it may sound like a little bit of a dramatic illustration, but that's actually the way it plays out if you ignore the voters, because their role is oversight and they do have the final say. The other thing that caught my attention is that it was mentioned that people are beginning to wake up, and it seemed that that was related to the decreases in services and the furloughs, as though if we poke them, if we punish them a little bit, they'll come around and they'll wake up and they'll start voting the way we want them to. Those kinds of tactics are used in New Jersey. I remember a bridge being shut down there a few years ago. Some of the behavior and the approaches are really very poor form for a town government, for a constitutional republic. And I just hope that you'll reflect, especially on the lack of listening to the voters. They've sent you several big clues. And I believe that had there been a reasonable mill rate sent out the first time around, and that people were treated with respect, this would have been put to bed a long time ago. Final thing, it was utterly irresponsible not to set a temporary mill rate and have a cash flow going in there. It's been done in the past without any major disruption. The tax office knows how to do it. And that would have saved a lot of anguish. So I hope people will begin to respect the hand that feeds them. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
You have a good night too. Matt, are you ready? Calling Matt. Matt's not there. Looks like Valerie has her
Can
hand
you
up.
hear me?
I can hear you, Valerie.
No.
Oh, Shannon. Over
Let
there.
me,
Yes.
I'm gonna hand him my phone.
No problem.
Okay.
Two different boxes. Yep. Shannon box and a Matt box.
Yep.
Hi,
This is Matthew Grauer, 42 Blaine Road, and also Fire Chief, Thompson Fire Engine Company, or Thompson Hill. I just want to address a pretty disheartening comment that I heard one of your members make. The comment seemed to make it look like the fire departments are causing the budget crisis the town is in right now, saying the 400 that is granted to the fire departments were taken out of the government budget and put into the tax district. There wouldn't be the trouble we're in. To put this on the volunteers right now, that saves the millions to the taxpayers, so that they don't have to support a paid fire service, is pretty disheartening. And I believe it was in poor taste to talk so emphatically about this when Brian Lynch has no knowledge of what has been done, what is being done for the diet in the fire district. This only hurts the reputation of the fire districts, of the fire departments. There was no time limit placed on the district to satisfy the shortcomings of the Board of Finance. There is a tax district group made up of fire chiefs and 6 citizens of the community that have been working regularly to make the tax district happen. We have met with an attorney to create bylaws for the tax district outlining the functions of the tax district and district board. Those bylaws have been finalized. The group has created a plan, are working to that plan. Part of that plan is creating a presentation to the town to explain why it is needed, how it would work, and most importantly, how the line items of the fire department would come out of the general government budget and be transferred to the fire district. I had created a presentation to the Board of Selectmen, the Board of Finance, and public that was presented by all the chiefs in 2019. That presentation is being revamped by the group now. The next steps of the district are to sign a petition and call a town meeting to create a tax district. But that's the easy part. We have had put a target date commence following this summer. Once created, there needs to be more volunteers to join the board, including a treasurer that will pay all the bills of the department, the mechanism for sending out tax bills and collecting taxes. It's not just getting off our asses and signing a piece of paper. That's all I have to say about that.
Thank you, Matt. Anyone else online? Valerie Clark, you're next.
Valerie Clark, 105 Elm Road. I'm appreciative that Matt was able to speak because he made excellent points, and one of them was one that I was going to make, which is by creating a fire tax district, it does not give the town the relief of the citizens will just pass the vote and pass the budget, and the relief of being able to increase your budget by $80,000 because we would still be taxed by our fire district. Additionally, I appreciate that an effort was made to make cuts to the budget, but that one of the cuts, the more significant one, was offset by increasing a revenue, and that revenue is yet another tax wherever it comes in. Last, on the interim tax, I know y'all have been led to believe that this is something that is permanent, not interim, but it has been done before, and a new rate was set once the interim was met. And in addition to that, I have documents that the finance director kindly provided me, which indicate that I am correct and that what you are being led to believe is incorrect. So I encourage the board to do their own research and ask their own questions on this, because the documents I have that refer to court cases indicate that a new mill rate can be set and that overages can be credited to the townspeople. Thank you.
You, Valerie. Anyone else online? Brianna?
Hi, am I on mute still?
No.
Okay, perfect. Hey, I just wanted to say thank you. This was
Sorry,
my,
real quick. Sorry to interrupt you, but
I'm sorry.
Full name and address.
Brianna Cairns, 22 BD Ave, North Grosvenordale. Sorry about that. Again,
No
this is my first meeting. I just want to say thank you guys for your time. And this was super educational for me. I have not attended one of these meetings. I appreciate your time. I really appreciate the members of the board who are supportive of our schools and did whatever you could to make it so that we're not cutting so much from our schools. And I just want to make one more comment regarding the thing that was said about, citizens are waking up. I did not take that comment to mean that, because we're removing services or lowering hours, that, citizens are going to vote the way we want to vote. What I understood from that comment was our citizens are going to wake up and realize that their vote matters. I think from what I've understood, these meetings probably do not have a whole lot of attendance when you do meet. So when you get a larger body of people in there, I think the waking up is the citizens that are like, oh crap, this is going to actually affect my life daily. And that's what it did for me. So I don't think it was in trying to uh pressure anybody to vote yes. I think it was wake up, we need a bigger voter turnout. And I just want to clarify that. That's what I took from it. And just push anybody out there. If you have a Facebook page or any sort of social media, if you're a voter and you're passionate about it, I really would suggest sharing it with your friends on your page so that everybody knows. And I know I see it on occasion sometimes, but I think there needs to be a bigger push for that, because we can't come down to 3 budget cuts and then there's a turnout, because that's just really disheartening. But that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you, Brianna.
Thank you.
Yep. Daniela is next. Daniela, you're on mute.
Can you hear me?
Now we can.
Okay.
Evening.
Daniela Caverly, 225 Ballard Road in Thompson. I have sort of a question. I've heard a few of you ask, how can we put money back in, right? What can we do? And I agree with the transfer station. I think that's a great idea. I personally be willing to pay double what I'm currently paying. I know it will save us money. I did not originally live in Thompson when I moved to Connecticut, and we were paying for private trash removal. When we moved here and I had to figure out all of the things, living in a new town, I was shocked at how cheap the transfer station was and how much money I would be saving. So I think that's great to do that. I know it can affect people, and it will affect people, and some won't be able to afford an increase. And hopefully we can provide maybe a day-to-day pass or something to help them to continue to come dump their trash, because we don't need trash all over the roads either, which could then happen, but there's definitely a savings. I also didn't know if we could allow, from what I hear from other people, they go to other towns and dump their trash, right? So Putnam is now seeing their change. Can we allow some non-residents to come in at maybe a higher price, but still cheaper than what they have to pay to bring in some money? But I have a question about the school, and to my knowledge, we are allowed to have non-resident students attend the high school in the culinary program, the CNA, the welding, right? But I don't see that happening. And I don't know if that's true or not. We have very low numbers in the high school. People are talking about closing the high school. Yet we have all the kids going to Ellis Tech and Killingly, right? What are we doing to bring in kids to our district from other towns? And are we making money off of that? Is that a way to bring in some revenue to the school to help us in any way? Who's looking at that? Is it even possible? I don't know. But I thought I recently heard that non-resident students can attend our school. And I didn't know that, I think, until last year. But is it happening? If it's not happening, how do we get it to happen? How do we get kids in? This welding program is amazing. These kids that are graduating and having these careers right out of high school, good for them. We need more trades. I work in a field that needs trades, and it's very hard to come by. So I'm just kind of wondering, I guess more from Melinda, what are we doing? And I know, Nikki, you asked, give us some ideas instead of complaining. Help us figure out how to get some revenue back. That's something I want to know. Can we bring in some revenue from that? And that's all I have.
Thank you, Danielle. I just, we don't really do a Q&A session, but you're bringing up some good questions. I just suggest that you reach out to either Melinda directly or someone on the Board of Ed.
Right. I just know,
Okay.
Nikki, you asked, so
Yeah.
maybe it's something we can try and bring in some money that way, right? You wanted feedback from the community.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night, guys.
Yeah, you too. Sean, you're up.
Sean Brissett, Lowell Davis Road.
We need the number, Sean. Sorry. I know
I'm sorry, 342.
342 LDR.
One thing that I would say that really needs to happen, and this is as much for the selectmen as it is you guys, but advertising this, getting this out that this is essentially, and now it might even be below flat. You know, when people come on in citizens' comments and are upset that you made comments like people are waking up, they're clearly not talking to a new group of people. They're only talking to their little echo chamber, because I've talked to at least half a dozen or more people in the last few weeks, different people, not people that I'm not normally talking to, who did not realize that they were going to see a tax decrease with the last referendum. They thought, they still believed, because their appraisal went up so much, their taxes were automatically going up. And they were dumbfounded to find out that they were going to see a decrease. The lowest, by the way, was $400. The highest was $800. I had somebody on social media just the other day saying, why don't they just put last year's budget out there? Well, do they understand? That's exactly what you did last time. People are not understanding that you are putting out a flat budget, and in many cases, 60% of the residents are going to see a decrease. Instead, what you get after a hard night, a long night, is, you know, from one person, you're told that you shouldn't listen to the residents because it's your job to come up with all the solutions. And then the next person piggybacks on him and tells you, oh, clearly you don't want to listen to the residents. This is what you're dealing with. And it's just, it's absurd, and it's not surprising coming from who it came from. But the fact is, the public needs to understand this is a flat budget. This is last year's budget. I'm sorry if you happen to live on a lake and your property went up a lot more. Again, I've put it out there. You want to sell me your property for your old appraisal? I'll take it. But nobody does, because they know these appraisals are accurate. And if they were selling their house, that's what they would sell it for. So at the end of the day, we need to advertise this better. We need to put it, whether it's the Shopper's Guide, whether it's Winnie, wherever it is, that this is, and I'm not sure, I'd like to know, is it below flat? Because I thought 19.29 was flat. So now you're even lower. But that's got to get pushed out there, because as much as some people want to say everybody's informed, they're clearly not informed. Thank you.
Thanks, Sean. I see no other hands raised. Is there anything in the chat room? I don't want to leave anybody out.
No,
Oh, we checked the chat.
no.
Okay, I think Valerie went already.
Okay, all right.
Valerie, we got to call it a night. We went around already once. I'm sorry.
I can just make a quick recommendation to anyone who feels they aren't paying enough taxes. The town does take donations. Thank you.
Send it in.
Yeah. That wasn't necessary.
Send it in.
Okay,
Yeah, right.
we're gonna move on to Board of Finance member comments.
I just have one comment. I know you all want to go home,
Well, I have a couple of comments.
and I appreciate that everybody wants to go home at the table. I also appreciate everybody's research, and I appreciate the education and answering all of my questions tonight. And Rob, I appreciate, as the chair, in the very beginning of the meeting, when you responded to the emails and the concise and the data that is out there. And I just think that we need to stick to data and try to go back to what one of the first citizens comments about the tone and about our community, and figure out not only how we can get all of our community services that everybody wants to use out and in the town, but how do we get this town to start being a community? And that's not necessarily our jobs, but you know what? We're volunteers, so I don't really have a job description. But my put is that I appreciate each and every one of you, and I would not want to spend 7 hours with anyone but you guys. So thank you for training me.
Thank you, Nikki. Any other Board of Finance member have a comment?
It's good to spend time with you as well.
I've got two, and I'll be quick because it is late. I want to clarify on the temporary mill rate, and we've got it wrong, and overages. That's not the way it is. It's different in a reval year. In a reval year, those overages would go into the following year. So again, there's conflicting points of view. This was research through the Connecticut General Statute 12-123 and guidance and advice from the president of the Connecticut Tax Association. So I feel like we've made a sound decision in that regard. Second thing, especially the first two comments, very, very disheartening. I think it's disrespectful. The words were disrespect, have respect back. I vote, I and everyone at this table, I think, have taken a thoughtful, respectful approach, a considerate approach, a patient approach. So to have this boomerang back that I should be displaced or something, let the townspeople decide that in November. I'm up for election in November. You guys don't like the job that I'm doing? You know what? Put someone else in. It's exhausting, absolutely exhausting. And then to hear that kind of commentary at the end, it's kind of like a kick in the face, honestly. I'm just gonna be right out there with it, because you know what? Townspeople don't want me, don't vote me back in. I'd love to be voted back in. I'd love to continue to serve. I run a big company. I've got a lot of experience in finance and people, and I think I hope I have a lot to offer, but if that's the real tone, maybe that's tone N=2 and the rest of the town isn't, but really, it's exhausting to hear that. You talk about respectfulness. Come on. Anybody else?
I'm gonna keep my mouth shut.
Thank you,
You
Brian.
don't need to feel that.
I know I don't.
I could say a lot, but
I know.
I'm
None of
gonna
us
keep my
do.
mouth shut.
None of us.
Okay.
I agree wholeheartedly with what you said, and I think that,
Yes.
you know, I was asked for clarity on a comment I made earlier, and I'm at a point where I believe people hear what they want to hear at this point, and justifying defending the comment is just not, it's not needed, because they clearly, even when tried to clarify, people still want to continue to hear what you are. If I didn't want to serve or I didn't want to be a part of the community, I wouldn't be sitting at this table. So anything outside of that as a thought on why I'm sitting here, I would disagree with.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Is there a
Second.
second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Like,
Who is the second?
Pick on
Okay,
it.
David.
Anybody who wants to down.
Good evening, everyone. It is 10:21. We are moving into the Board of Selectmen meeting. All three selectmen are present. And we will start with agenda item 2, legal notice for town meeting and referendum. As presented, we are proposing a town meeting on July 30th with a referendum to follow on August 13th. The regular polling stations, 12 to 8 p.m. With that, I'll make a motion that we approve the legal notice as presented. And that's my motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion on this legal notice?
No.
Other than put the number out.
Yeah.
Yep, so legal notice states, just what, you want to pass it, or you want to read it? The legal notice. To consider and act upon the recommendations of the Board of Finance and Appropriations be made for the fiscal year budget for the period beginning July 1st, 2025 and ending June 30th, 2026 in the amount of $31,329,394. And to make such appropriations as are advisable in adopting a town budget. Those are the numbers. Make that motion. Suzanne had the second?
Yeah.
Suzanne had the
Yeah.
second? Okay, any discussion?
Other than to thank all the public that was part of the Board of Finance meeting tonight, the information, their discussion obviously helped guide the Board of Finance in making their decision to give us our budget tonight. And we'll present it to the public accordingly and see where it goes.
And just to echo Ken, and his thoughts with the Board of Finance, those are not easy decisions that you guys had to make, and watching you it's almost painful, but hearing some of the criticism is just appalling. And I am floored at how a community as wonderful as Thompson can have some people saying some of the things that they were saying, and what I've read on Facebook, and I'm just not gonna read Facebook anymore.
And I agree with your sentiment, Suzanne. I've always taken the high road. I don't engage on social media. I refuse to engage on social media. And I refuse to attack my neighbors. You will never see me do that. I care about this community. I care about the people who are employed by the town. I really sincerely am in solidarity with everything that's going on. I'm with these employees. I'm side by side with them. And, yeah, I'm believing this budget will pass, and thank you for the work that you all did, the Board of Finance members that are still here. Thank you. So, if there's no further comments, all in favor of approving the legal notice as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. I gotta dig mine out, that's all. Oh, here, okay, we want, I'll be the same as that. Sorry about that. Right, agenda item 3 is the consideration of setting that mill rate. We did a lot of research over the last few weeks, couple weeks, 2 weeks, I guess. We went back and forth. We got some information from the town attorney. We got some initial information from the Connecticut Tax Collectors Association, and up until today, we really weren't getting the full picture. And as Rob had stated, it's not a temporary mill rate. It does become the permanent mill rate because we cannot just piggyback on last year's mill rate, which is what we did in 2017. But because it's a reval year, once we set, whatever we set becomes that mill rate. I was opposed to doing it earlier, and there had been a meeting. And I didn't solely make the decision, as some people have stated. It was a Board of Selectmen decision, but mostly because I do want to hear from the people, and I do respect the vote. And I do hope that more people come out, because certainly 26% of the voters is not everybody's opinion. Not that the remaining 74% are all going to vote yes, but at least it would give us a truer picture of what the entire community believes. So if we were to set a mill rate, it does become the mill rate. All the tax bills would go out versus in 2017, when only the real estate bills went out, and then the motor vehicle bills went out in December, I believe. So just to clarify, that is the information and the facts that we have now. It's all come together. It took us a little while to get it all together, but that is the facts. So I'd love to hear what the selectmen believe.
I'm not in favor of setting a mill rate, and I'm gonna say mill rate, because it's not a temporary mill rate. And the voters haven't decided. We do not have an approved budget. We don't have a temporary spending plan. And my concern is, it's almost, if we are to set a mill rate, say based on the 19 mills, and it fails, and then it goes to 18.5. We're overtaxing people and we're not able to give it back. We're having to put it in the confusion. I think the upset, it doesn't respect the taxpayers. We have a matrix, we have a system in place and a process. I think it even weakens our bond rating if we start to go against our process and what we do. So I am not in favor of setting a temporary mill rate tonight. And I don't want to take it off, I'm not willing to set it tonight, I would vote no. If we go to a 5th referendum, then we would need to come back to the table and discuss it. That's how I feel.
I totally agree with what Suzanne just said. We have a budget to go out tonight with a mill rate that's attached. I have faith that the budget is there, that the people will vote accordingly, and we won't be addressing this other than to approve it at our next meeting after the vote. If something does happen to the effect that this process continues longer than we anticipate, obviously, we're gonna have to do something.
Okay. And I would agree with both of you.
No action.
No action is gonna be
No
taken
action.
tonight. And with that,
Motion to adjourn.
Ken has a motion
Second.
to adjourn, Suzanne has the second, it is 10:28 PM, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, good night, everybody.
Ken, 6 years, it's finally, we're